This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox newscast. Welcome to the X&C Podcast, episode number 242. We are creeping up on the fifth year. The fifth year.
5 years, dude.
In like 3 solid years with Mag as the co-host.
My goodness. Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was gonna set the chat in the corner. I might do that while we're kind of starting the show. It's kind of something new I thought I would figure out how to do. But Mag, how you been? It's been it's been a week. It really has.
It's been a whole bunch of time. I'm doing good, man. Highlander, get out of here. He goes, I miss Gaz. He starts right away. Nobody misses Gaz ever. You're the only one, period. Anyways, all joking aside. He is a scumbag, though. Anyhow, so getting back to the topic at hand here. Yes, I've been having a very scary week. It's been Resident Evil, nothing but Resident Evil since Friday. It's been absolutely amazing. Now, I got to say, Friday, exactly, Cybercopter, thank you. Who's Gaz? Yeah. So Friday, dude, I streamed for 7.5 hours. Live on the air, talking and gaming, 7.5 hours in total on Friday. I did not do anything Saturday because Saturday I had something very special going on, and I know I told you about it, but the chat needs to know. Saturday, for my birthday, my wife took me to the city, and we went to go see a Star Wars strip show called The Empire Strips Back. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Empire Strips Back. They were in Toronto for a limited engagement. Now they're back in Las Vegas. And that's where the show originated from or whatever. And I mean, there's nothing like a half-nude Leia rubbing herself all over a animatronics R2-D2. It was magnificent. It was wonderful. Luke Skywalker as a woman on the land speeder. And then there was a whole scene. Dude, check this out. So, like, you know how, like, they do, like, those, like, like, music videos where the girls are washing their cars in bikinis and, like, spraying water all over themselves and stuff?
Yeah.
It was a girl dressed up as Luke Skywalker washing his land speeder and, like, squirt, like basically, like, squeezing the sponge over her head, and all the water and soap was going down her body. And I am just dying, man. It was hilarious. So, it was amazing. I mean, and there was nothing funnier than Jabba the Hutt, a 20-foot Jabba the Hutt, with the actual puppeteers moving the mouths. He was singing Notorious B.I.G. and Salacious Crumb, the little guy, was P. Diddy. I never laughed so hard in my entire life. It was absolutely amazing. Oh, sorry, God, it was so good. So that was that. What's wrong?
I was trying to set up something, but it's going to double the sound, so I can't do. I'll do it another time.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, you were telling me about
Sunday back to Resident Evil.
And, yeah.
Salacious Crumb was P. Diddy, and Notorious B.I.G. was Jabba the Hutt, and they did a whole song together. It was hilarious, with, of course, Slave Leia in all the chains and taking her clothes off. Amazing show. So I did that, and then Sunday back to Resident Evil. I streamed again last night for about 3.5 hours, and people just can't get enough. But you know, the thing is, I still had about 3,000 people watch over the weekend, the live streams. But the thing is, I got to tell you, if this game wasn't so huge and so popular, I think I would have doubled that. The thing is so many people came to the chat and said, hey, bro, or messaged me privately. They're like, dude, I want to watch your stream so bad, but I want to play it myself because I don't want to I don't want the game spoiled for me. So I missed out on a huge crowd because a lot of people wanted to experience it for themselves because it's such a huge game. And I got to tell you, I'm at the end of the game. Obviously, no spoilers, nothing like that. I'm at the end of the game, at least my first run, my first of many runs. And it's a 10 out of 10. There's no 9.5. There's no 9. There's no nothing. The loops, that was hilarious, by the way. It's the 10 out of 10. It's the only thing that bothers me is that Grace is a little bit annoying. That's it. When she talks, because she's got like this PTSD thing. She's like, what do you mean there's a, what do you mean you're going over there?
Please, Eddie.
What do you mean you're giving me this guy? And she does it all the time. So when you hear it once, and the funny thing is I pointed it out when I was doing one of my streams, and the chat's like, dude, I can't unhear it now. Because every time she talks, she's like, what do you mean, Leon? What do you mean we're going to Raccoon City? What do you mean we have to get in the helicopter? And I'm like, oh my God. At one point I said, Leon, shoot her. Never mind the zombies, just shoot her and then just do the game yourself. But anyways, it's pretty funny. But anyways, it's a 10 out of 10. I can't give it anything lower than that. It has met all my expectations, not only narratively, but the tone is just magnificent. It like when you're playing as Grace, you are scared to death. Like it is terrifying.
I was gonna say,
and then like you come. Yeah, sorry.
No, I was gonna say, what if I'm too scared to play the game? Will I be able to do it?
It's scary, dude. It's scary. Not as Leon. When you're playing as Leon, it's a little bit more fast and loose, kind of like a little bit more like a Resident Evil like 5
3.
kind of vibe, Resident Evil 4. Like it's not as scary when you're as Leon because you're so OP, right? And you got all these guns and you got all this stuff, and you know Leon's doing the roundhouse kicks to zombies' faces and smack. And I gotta say, this is by far the goriest Resident Evil I've ever played. It is uncomfortably gory. The physics are chef's kiss. Like I shot a zombie, dude. You have no idea how many times I took like little video clips. I shot a zombie directly in the face, and it hit him right here in the cheekbone, and his eyeball dripped out of his head and was dangling there on his cheek, held by the sinew. And I'm going. Oh, I'm like screaming on my microphone, and like you shoot him in the jaw, it separates the jaw, and the jaw's dangling. Like it is incredible. You take out a knee, you take out the knee. Guy goes down on one knee. It's amazing. But like I said, as Grace, it is absolutely terrifying. 10 out of 10. I don't want to get into too much detail. That's all I gotta say. It's a masterpiece. So for the rest of 2026, which is going to be loaded with huge AAA games this year. The gold standard I'm setting everything for the rest of 2026 against is Resident Evil Requiem. That is the gold standard for 26, and now everything else has to match that. Or not match it, but like that's what I'm going to measure it up against. That's what I got to say about it. Anyways.
That makes me think of a recent poll that was reported by a games journalist that said, I can't find it, but it was like, I'm seeing one thing that says like 53 or 40% of people don't want to play violent video games. But I saw something that said like adult violent video games don't appeal to the mass majority of gamers. And they were bringing up this question, like, does the new generation want to play mature, gritty, violent video games? And oh no, it's Alex on his Twitter post the other day. And he talked about it on his podcast about how Xbox needs to get back to like their 2000 era, white boy angst, like the Sum 41 and like that whole era of like dude bro shooters, because I've been wrong in the past, and this will be me being wrong then for sure. He said they need to go back to where games aren't made for everyone, and Xbox does a lot of this. We're making games for everybody, mass appeal, like anyone from your little sister to your old uncle would want to play this game. And the casting such a wide net has been a problem. Like, do people still want to play a very violent and bloody game? Like Gears E-Day will probably have plenty of like, people being ripped in half and stuff like that. And Doom, the Dark Ages,
sure.
ripped piece.
I expect Gears to be very,
But then you have Fable.
You're
and
you're botting a little bit there, bruh.
Oh, I am.
Yeah.
Let me see.
You were doing some Max Headroom.
Oh, okay.
You were doing some Max Headroom stuff there too. Like you were going like this. You were like, beep, 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 like, and I was just like, oh.
Let me know if you guys saw that on the stream.
Max
if it
Headroom
was
from 1988.
Yeah. Try some Pepsi and Coke. Yeah. If you let me know if that's happening on the show. That was a really bad impression of the Back to the Future 2. Because when we're on Discord doing the show, and Mag said he saw a couple of issues when we were first connecting, but I don't know about the violent video games. I'm fine with them. Yeah. So he says it's Mag's camp. So yeah, it might be Discord. Yeah, we'll see here. Everything
Gears E-Day is going to be gory. There's no question about it. It's going to be gory. Coalition's not going to hold back on that game. And why would you? I mean, when you play Gears of War Reloaded, which I played that back in September or whatever it was, and I played through the whole campaign with my wife, and it just reminded me For me personally, I thought, like I said, I was not a huge fan of. First of all, I didn't think Gears of War 4 was very good. Gears of War 5 was a step up, but still not as good as the original trilogy. And then the best thing that Coalition had done at that point was the Hive Busters. I thought was pure bliss. That was an incredible DLC, and that was by far better than 4 and 5. So they were heading in the right direction. Like it's like they were getting better. But now you're going back to E-Day. So you're going back to E-Day. You got to get that vibe of what you had from the original game. The original game was a horror game. And when I went back and played it, you forget how scary Gears of War actually was. Like I'm walking through like those burned out buildings and I was scared to go around corners. Like I was playing Silent Hill or Resident Evil.
Yeah. The krill that fly down and then you had the...
I always harken back to those.
The Berserker
that's the best, one of my favorite... Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of
I was going to say it's one of my favorite level designs of all time. Was the one where you're in the dark and you have to kick those like you have to shoot the barrels and light them on fire, and then you have to kick them down the street, and you have to go from light to light to light to light, and I was scared stiff playing that with my wife. I'm like, oh my God, because you know those things are flying up there. And it was terrifying. It was tense. It was gory. It was moody. It was scary. And that's what Gears needs to go back to. And if Gears of War E-Day, which I would imagine they will, because this is when they came up. So everybody's going to be like, what the hell's going on? Like, it's not like a 30-year war where they knew what was happening. They're just like sitting there in a cafe, like going, well, you know, I just got myself some seafood crepes. That opening, and then all of a sudden these monsters come out of the ground, right?
Or so it's going to be the people in the cafe, and they're like, "Could I have a wahoo? Did you get a wahoo?" I saw, Meg and I are wah. We were.
That was so funny.
I saw we both liked the reel there with the croissant.
The Australian guys with the croissants. Like, yes, may I have a croissant? So they're going to be eating croissants in their cafe. Yeah. And then all of a sudden these monsters come out of the ground. They're going to start tearing apart civilians and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Death.
No army's going to be there.
I want sadness. I want violence. I want maturity. I want all that stuff.
Yes.
When you play Gears 1, it felt like a sequel. Like it felt like an improvement upon like it just did all these cool things. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what they need to go back to, that horror. And now, like, I got to tell you, though, like I said, Resident Evil, extremely gory. And of course, I've played all of them like literally dozens of times. Now I'm into the hundreds of, like, if you add up all the different games I've played and all the runs I've done through all of them, I'm in the hundreds. And this is by far the goriest. And the thing is, I actually found some parts of this game. Of course, I won't talk about it in detail, but it was like I found it almost uncomfortably gory. Like there were parts in this where I was like, oh my God. Like I was just like, oh God. Like I was just like shielding half my face, like going, oh my God, like what is happening? But even so, I mean, like I said, everybody's got a lot to live up to because Capcom delivered. Just delivered in spades. There was another great scene. This woman, anybody who's played the game, y'all know what I'm talking about. The singing ladies, right? And there's a singing lady. She's just kind of wandering around and singing to herself. It's really creepy. And anyways, she turns around. She's right by a bookshelf, right? Beautiful bookshelf, ornate, like lighting and all this beautiful stuff. Mahogany shelving and all this. And I just turn and went, oh my God, boom. And I just pulled off the perfect headshot, hit her right here. The back of her head, like literally the skull fragments exploded onto the shelf behind and stayed there. And it was so realistic that even I flinched. And I watched The Terrifier at Christmas, okay? So like I don't get freaked out by all this stuff. But that I was like, "Oh my God." Like it was a little too realistic. And I was so blown away by that. I literally stopped my stream for like 2 minutes and just sat there in awe like I can't believe that. Went back to the room later, guess what was still there? The blood spray.
I've heard the blood
still there
stays there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't get that often
anyways,
in games.
It's what a masterpiece. Next on the docket, Crimson Desert. Let's see if they can follow through with all the hype. That's the next big one, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, I don't speaking of violence, I've seen a lot of footage. I don't remember dismemberment and blood, and like we're playing video games.
Oh no, I don't mean in that respect.
Chop off some arms, chop off some heads. Like my family and I just spent the week watching The Hobbit Extended on 4K Blu-ray, and there's like 2 beheadings in all of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, But in the Hobbit, like there's like arrows going through heads coming off, arms going off, people being ripped in half by a wagon with it's crazy. I didn't realize because I just watched the whole trilogy at the theater with my son, and now we just finished The Hobbit, and I was like, there's a lot of like violence that juxtaposed correctly, because The Hobbit is like good feeling, it's mature, it's cool, it's dark, it's funny, and then there's like arms and legs coming off. I like to see that. And when I look at Fable, it's like none of that's going to be in there. Fable's never been about
no. It'll be
gruesome violence, but I think you could pop off people's heads in like Fable 2 or maybe Fable 3. I can't remember. I played Fable 3 really recently, but some of that I feel like developers are like, oh, we don't want to scare people away. It's like we're not in the era where Walmart's not going to sell your game because you have too much violence or blood in it. We live in an era where anybody can get access to a violent video game and then draw scary pictures in their peachy. It's great. But a game that's not bloody and violent. I got one for you, Mag. Well, let me hear your thought.
Okay, go for it.
Because it'll be gone if I don't let you have it. Sorry, go ahead.
No, what is it? You have me on pins and needles. What is it?
The game that's not going to be bloody or violent is, let me look at the name. It is Stage Tour. So apparently Rock Band is back. The Red Octane team, this is off the top of my head. I watched the thing. Shout out to King Baltimore who sent it to me today on Twitter. Red Octane, who's a team that used to work with Harmonix and also partly worked on the Guitar Hero series, is making a brand new Kramer guitar. Think of like an 80s, like, hairband guitar. They're making your run-of-the-mill guitar from Guitar Hero and Rock Band, but they're going to support mouse and keyboard controller or your old instruments, and it's going to be more like Fortnite's music where you don't go and download and buy songs off the market. There'll be some available at certain times, and you can get access to them. Like Fortnite has different songs.
Like a live service Rock Band.
As far as the music is concerned, like where you're not importing music. Just from what the cursory part I read was that songs will pop up, occasionally that you can use. But the game looks like a 360 game. Like the player character models look worse than Rock Band 2. Like it has that aesthetic, which is probably a good thing actually. But
that doesn't affect me at all because I'm not there for the graphics. I'm there for the music,
right?
And for the fun of it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not looking at remember like the other ones, they had the goofy guy who kind of looked like a fat Slash, and he had like the mohawk, and he's just like whatever. Like I'm not looking at that guy. Or like even the Beatles expansion, that doesn't look like Ringo Starr. Like I don't really care. I'm there for the music and the sound and just the fun of it, like just that would be kind of cool, man. I mean, I don't have any more of those guitars, but I mean,
I
got rid of everything.
I have everything. And in today's day and age, that guitar is probably $120 in the US. I'm pretty sure that's probably what it'll be.
What?
But it's going to be a digital download. They don't have a physical version of the game as at this point. They're coming out fall 2026. They're going to sell the guitar in a bundle. So us at
USB
home, we have
connected.
Well, that's the deal. Like Bluetooth works with the PlayStation, but Xbox uses a Wi-Fi Direct protocol. So are they going to start selling the stupid adapter that I couldn't buy last gen because it was overpriced and out of stock? But
the dongle.
Yeah, there was like a little sensor
plug into your
dongle.
console. And,
yeah.
See, like I use that like when I use my headsets. Like if there's like a dongle involved or whatever, you could just plug it into the back of a console or whatever and just use the whatever. But yeah. I mean so you're saying PlayStation has Bluetooth, but Xbox doesn't? I mean,
as far as
Xbox
I know,
have Bluetooth on the but Xbox has Bluetooth on the controllers. Like why the hell wouldn't they do that with a guitar? That seems bizarre.
Yeah, like the Xbox connects via Bluetooth onto PC, but I think it uses a different protocol on console, so they need to figure out a way around that.
Okay.
Somebody might know that better than I do. I just know on Xbox One you couldn't play Rock Band 4 unless you bought the adapter, and I could never get one. They were impossible to get. It's just a small news thing. I don't know if anybody cares, but we need a guitar.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, our Fender's broken.
That's fun.
I took it apart this Christmas and I tried everything, alcohol wipes and and readjusting everything, and it doesn't really work very well. So,
Well,
Spare
Highlander Grim in the chat wanted to point it out.
Yeah,
he says no one wants to hear about your dongle, Mag. Listen, man. I didn't, and of course the chat is going wild with it right now.
My dongle's usually sweaty.
Hey Talos, it sucks that Rush is not going to Australia, but I actually, it's funny if you're a Rush fan. I actually, my aunt used to be Geddy Lee's nurse, and I have like albums that are signed with my name on them. And it says, and it says best wishes always Geddy Lee, and I've got like signed albums
cool.
from like from the members of Rush, and when you go to the baseball games, when you go to the Blue Jay games, Mingo, if you go to the Blue Jay games, Geddy Lee has season tickets behind the plate. So like if you go down to the ball game and you're sitting in that section, he's right there. You can just say hi to him and stuff. It's kind of cool. And he actually does the scores by hand with a pencil and paper. He's been doing it for decades. In the book, he's got his little book, and he sits there and he scores the game. And he's like, 3, 2,
super
5,
enjoyable way to watch a game. Actually, too, I've done it before.
It's wild, man.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's wild. And my brother met him a few times too. Like I said, he's from Toronto. I mean, like his house is like 40 minutes from my house, and like he's like 5 minutes from my parents' house. So it's pretty hilarious how that. Yeah, he's pretty cool, man. He's pretty cool, and they're going back on tour. So I might go check him out if the tickets aren't $8 million a ticket, but we'll see.
Oh my gosh, I tried to see one of my favorite bands, and to be on the floor was $550. Yeah. Well, let's.
Well, I'm not gonna be on the floor, but
I want to be closer. Plus, I can't see. Let's talk. So, some gaming news has dropped today. Game Pass got Cyberpunk, and I'm like, so what? Game's 6 years old almost, or 5.5 years old. And people are like, well, I didn't play it, and it'll bring in this theme that we're going to talk about later about how people just wait for Game Pass. It really is becoming a truth, but. Before we talk about that, I want to talk about, thank you guys for being here at the like button. If you're enjoying the show, I don't know how you could yet. We're just getting started. I'm kind of feeling off today. It's been a weird day, but Fallout Remasters got some really strange leaks today. Iron Galaxy, the team behind the Killer Instinct port, they did the port for Borderlands 2 and the Handsome Collection. They helped on that. They worked on a Forza Horizon port. I don't know if it was 4 or 5. I can't remember. I think it was for Forza Horizon 5 for the PS5. Anyway, Iron Galaxy tweeted out a picture of the literal loading screen of Fallout New Vegas, the please stand by test pattern with the Mojave Desert behind it, not the one from Fallout 3. And so now keen-eyed Fallout fans like myself are thinking, is it possible that Virtuos, like we've heard, is working on Fallout 3 and simultaneously Iron Galaxy is working on Fallout New Vegas? But this doesn't make any sense because the timing of those ports should have been revealed or released now, like when the show ended. So I thought I would open it up for discussion because I have a lot to say about this, but I'm just worried that we're going to go for it. The last thing I want to say before I give it to you is I'm worried that if Virtuos is working on it, it's fine. It's going to be like Oblivion. But if Iron Galaxy is working on it, they typically just make a port. They'll just take the version we already have. If you're an Xbox fan, you've had Fallout 3 at 4K 60 for a long, long time. And if you go play it on PC with the most expensive PC ever, it will look identical, in my opinion. So I'm worried that New Vegas is just going to get this 4K 60 port, but maybe they're doing what Virtuos is doing. What do you think, Mag?
I don't know. They had a lot of success with the Unreal Engine 5 like paint job with Oblivion, and I think that why not do it? You know what I mean? Like why not do it again and bump up the frame rates, just like you said, do a 4K 60 Unreal Engine 5 paint job. And I mean, it did well enough. I mean, why wouldn't you do it? I mean, it seems to be the fan favorite, right? However, if you go back and play New Vegas, at least in my opinion, I've tried it a few times, gone back to it, and it's pretty rough. Like, I mean, like playing the original, it's pretty rough. And you're just like, holy crap. And it's like this, as some people say about nostalgia being a hell of a drug. And it's like when you go back and actually turn it on, you're like, yikes.
It was rough in 2010. It could
use an update. There's no.
It was rough in 2010.
And so, like,
and I loved it. It was rough.
Yeah. So they, yeah. So it is what it is. But maybe they're teasing. When was the last? Okay, when was the last game that was on a PlayStation? Was that PS3? Besides Fallout 7, is Fallout 76 there too?
Fallout
right?
3 in New Vegas.
That's essentially a live service.
Yeah, Fallout 3 in New Vegas were the last Fallouts on the PS3, 08 and 2010, respectively. So it's been a while if you're a PlayStation only fan outside of.
So maybe that's what it's got to do.
Streaming it. I hope not.
Maybe they'll release it for all consoles, like they did. They'll release it for Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch. For sure, Switch 2 can handle it, so they can do that. I mean, if
absolutely.
Switch 2 can handle Requiem and Pragmata and all these new games that are coming out, it absolutely can do it. So release it on all the consoles, and then release the Fallout 3 remake after that. Because I would imagine that a paint job would be a lot faster to put together than the remake that they're actually working on, which we won't see till 27.
You're saying what if they did both? What if they gave us a port and then turned around and did another one? I mean, that'd be some Bethesda stuff to do, right?
No. I meant like New Vegas being a remaster, and then Fallout 3 come after that as an actual remake.
Oh yeah.
So it feels like a modern AAA game that you just got kind of thing. And then that buys them more time so that you don't feel the pinch of, and by the way, Fallout 5 is coming out in literally 5 years. You know what I mean? So you may not feel the pinch of that.
Gap. Yeah, good point.
That's what I'm saying. Like Capcom does that with Resident Evil. I know I'm bringing it up again, but that's what they do. They're going in between mainline series games and releasing the stellar, by the way, also 10 out of 10 remakes, right? 2, 3, 4,
every
and
2
then
years.
On to right every couple of years. So it kind of takes the sting out of, I just finished Requiem. Crap, I gotta wait till 2031 for the next mainline Resident Evil. But in between that, they'll release a couple of remakes, maybe one remake, but certainly one for sure, maybe two if they could squeeze a second one in there. But it kind of takes the sting out of it. So I think that would be a healthy cadence of releases for Bethesda to do that before they get into a Fallout 5. And let's also not forget, as we've talked about many times as graybeard gamers, these aren't for us anymore. They are, but at the same time, you're trying to introduce a new generation. My kids don't know what the hell Fallout is, except for that they see it on Prime, right? But they don't know the games. They weren't even born yet, right? So, you're introducing it to a new generation. I don't know. That's just my thought. I think that's what they should do. Yeah, Newcast guy, you're not wrong. RE1 is the only older one they have left to remake, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't really know. When I say that Iron Galaxy typically just makes a port, maybe they've been told, hey, do this paint job in Unreal Engine 5 for New Vegas. It's just kind of weird that we think Fallout 3 is possibly the remaster or remake is next year. I thought it would have been this year, but then it could also be, next year, 2027. I don't know when they're going to coincide the release of 3 remaster with the unveiling of the next season, or maybe the end of the season. It really sucks that they weren't ready, and maybe Iron Galaxy has been told, hey, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to make this quasi remake, and figure it out. You got all the people that you need to get it figured out. And I think I've told you guys, I was playing Fallout New Vegas last month, and it felt, I'm not talking about the glitches. It just felt like an old game when it came out. And when I play it now, it feels like that old game that was old then. So it really needs a new coat of paint. I was also picked up Oblivion Remaster and continued my playthrough I abandoned when all the games came out last year. And it's gorgeous. So I would like to see that, but I don't know. We talked a lot about Fallout on here. I want to talk about a different game.
I got to address something in the chat.
Oh yeah, do it.
Donnie, I am a Resident Evil, Donnie Blitz. I'm a Resident Evil expert. And when I say didn't mention Code Veronica and Resident Evil 0, it's because they're already being remade, you clown. And look at Maverick jumping right on it. Exactly, Donnie. Left out left. Dude. Not Donnie. Just Maverick. Resident Evil of Code Veronica and Resident Evil 0 are already in development. So that didn't need to be mentioned. Resident Evil 1 is not currently in development. That's what I was referring to.
I think you established
Don't test me on Resident Evil.
You established it pretty well. They do have a good cadence of this team's working on the new one. Here, we're working on this remaster. So you have something, Because those remakes are amazing. It's like re-experiencing the game all over again.
I'm just messing. Donnie, I'm just messing with you.
He said, Daddy, chill.
Like,
what even
chill.
is what even is that?
I'm just kidding.
What the hell is that?
What
Daddy,
even is
chill.
that? Yeah, no, I'm just kidding around with you guys. Come on, man. Maverick, I'm not kidding with. Donnie, I'm kidding with. Maverick, no, he's getting all the smoke. Listen, by the way, Cyberpunk, someone in the chat mentioned that Cyberpunk was not available in Game Pass, and I'm looking, I literally have it on my screen here, so I'm screening through. That's why you can see the reflection
It hasn't
off my
been,
glasses.
but that's the strong rumor right now.
It's not here.
It's not here yet.
Oh, it's a rumor. Okay.
Well,
because I'm scanning through.
The Game Pass
Custodian
account
is the last C, and the next one is Day of the Tentacle.
Yeah.
So I'm on the screen right now.
The Game Pass account did like a little teaser that it's obviously Cyberpunk.
Okay.
I didn't dive into it because I've already played the
already...
game twice. So I still stand by Xbox.
I'm done with it.
They need to be getting newer games.
Yeah.
They also need to be working hard
I put
on getting more
130
day
hours
ones.
into that.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
The Five Horsemen in the chat says, Colt, what kind of circuit board is behind the guitar here? That circuit board I bought on eBay for $30. It's very special significance to me. That is the Xbox One X Scorpio board. And I bought a broken one on eBay and cleaned it up to hang it up because the Xbox Scorpio means a lot to me because it is when my channel really started to move and where I was brought into a podcast and I was able to grow my channel. And then a couple of years later, I went to E3. It is the genesis of everything. And that little chip that I talked about in videos is I just decided, I don't know. I have my Xbox Scorpio editions down here where you can't see it, but I thought it'd be cool to have that board up there just to see, just to look at it.
I should have kept my board from Scorpio because my Scorpio melted.
Oh yeah, you should have kept it.
Remember that? Remember I told you about that? I had the One X and it literally melted. And well, I mean in the inside anyway. So I mean if it was like a nice dessert, it would be like a lava cake. You know what I mean? Like the outside was just like, you know, the way it was, and then the inside was nice and gooey. And except it cost me $700 or $600 Canadian. I wasn't too happy about it.
Yeah, and I didn't
when I went to go take it to a repair guy,
yeah,
he opened it up and he's like, I can't do anything to this. He's like, it is completely melted, and it was past warranty, so Xbox did nothing for me.
Yeah, I didn't hear a lot about failures like that, but the I don't know if you guys can see it because there's a little bit of a lens blur in the background, but see the black squares that are arrayed around the chip? That's your RAM array. That's your shared memory pool for the console. Those black things are that's the graphics RAM or the GDDR5 or whatever it is. And then you have the chip in the middle, right. So you have the graphics chip and the CPU all built into one. And I just thought it was pretty cool. And the guy sent it to me in a bubble envelope. I didn't have to pop open a broken console, and that was $30 well spent. And it's kind of the same size as the plaque, so I appreciate it. Let me grab a couple supers. We're going to get into the gaming news. Mag and I are going to talk about Asha Sharma's major changes. They're bringing in a brand new marketing team, which we talked about last week. Funny enough, you heard Mag and said, I better go hire somebody. We're going to talk about Game Pass exclusives, the console, and everything. Before we do, I'm going to grab a couple questions. We got It's a Broke Boy. Thank you for gifting 5 channel memberships. Appreciate you. I've also been listening to Oh No It's Alex's stream and hearing Broke Boy make a bunch of hilarious comments on there. Yeah, it's right.
I just got hives when you said his name.
Well,
I'm allergic to bananas. Sorry.
He had a really great argument on his live show about exclusivity being just for people that want bragging rights, which is hilarious. It was great. You got to go check it out. Face 23 Brooklyn, New York. Thank you so much for the 2. Says, Colt, your thoughts on PSSR 2.0? From what I saw in Resident Evil Requiem, PSSR 2.0 is the real deal. And it says to me that FSR, once it's fully utilized, which is not on the consoles except for the PSSR, which uses a version of FSR that's custom tailored by Mark Cerny, is awesome. And it's unbelievably great how good games are looking. And it's something we'll talk about later. The Xbox needs to pull their heads out and be pushing hard with their hardware. Broke Boy with another 5 says, yeah, Mag streams something I couldn't watch because I didn't want spoilers. Damn you, Mag, he says. Yeah,
it's fair enough.
Yeah, P-Lump,
It's fair enough. Like I told
you.
you, I think I lost about half the audience because a lot of people are like, dude, I want to play it myself. And I'm like, no problem, no problem. I'm like, even just coming by and saying hello is cool. And then they did. A lot of people came by just to say hello. And then some people just avoided my streams entirely, but they messaged me. They're like, I feel bad because I wanted to come check you out.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. It's not the last stream ever. I'll be doing other streams of other games. I got a ton of games coming up all the way into the summer that I will be streaming on the channel all day one of all the new games coming. So I'm like, no, man, don't worry about it. I'm like, you go play the game, enjoy it. Let me know how you like it. I'm not worried about that. So as long as you're having a good time gaming and whatever, that's all that matters.
Maybe I should come by and just go.
But the PSSR 2 is amazing, by the way. On Requiem, it's the first game to have it. And so I'm playing at 4K 60 with full ray tracing. And then if you turn off the ray tracing, it'll go up to 120 FPS solid.
Oh, dang.
So it's 4K 120 FPS.
Yeah.
So it's pretty serious. Anyways, then they have 150 games, I think, right now that are, or not now. I think it's next week sometime. They're going to release, like, there's going to be like an update. And then when you do the update, it's going to implement them automatically to all the games moving forward that they already have on the list. And then and then all the new games coming out are all going to have it. So it's going to be pretty serious. Yeah, it's awesome. But it's funny when I do the streams, people are like, some people like casually come by and they'd be like, dude, what are you rocking, man? A 5090? What is that? Like, it's amazing. And I'm like, no, it's PS5 Pro. And they're like, oh, Nikes. They're like, that looks unbelievable. And actually, one of the watchers put on the projector on his wall. And he's like, it's
really?
like crystal clear. And even with a projector. Yeah. And I'm like, that's pretty cool, man. But anyways, I know, Bobby. I know, man. Crimson Desert. It's coming out 2 weeks.
That first year was pretty rough with the PS5 Pro. Like, it didn't get a lot of support, but it takes time. And Xbox needs to take note. This is how you support your console and respect people's purchase. So good on PlayStation. P-Lump for the 5 says, I think you know by now, stop the madness, play my damn theme song. Resident Evil suck. Personally, I'm not a fan of Resident Evil. It's a 5 out of 10. I don't have your theme song. Sorry, but Resident Evil doesn't suck, but you are scared, just like I am.
Hold on a second. Who the hell said that?
P-Lump.
Who the hell said that? Hold on, I'm scrolling back up. Who said that?
P-Lump.
Who said Resident Evil sucks and gave it a 5 out of 10? He should be scared because I'm going to be showing up at his house later after the show. As soon as the show's done, I'm going to find him.
Yeah.
Chat, you know what to do. Figure it out. Let me know. Give me the address by the end of the show.
The address. Illuminati with the 2 says, thank you, Illuminati. Why can't Xbox cherry pick games that help sell hardware? We'll talk about that. Let's get into I was going to talk about this. I was going to talk about Marathon. No one cares. Either you liked it or you didn't. Seems like most people didn't. It'll go for another day. Crap. So
there's some people that are playing it and enjoying the hell out of it. Actually, I saw some people in the chat saying, hey, I played it all weekend and loved it. And I'm like, that's cool. But I just couldn't I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out what was going on. And I'm like, these games are not for me anyway. And I'm like, they're not really my style of video game. And I'm like, whatever. And then I'm like, okay. And then a lot of people got back to me and just like, yeah, this is just not for me. Hey man, listen, I wish them well. I hope they do all right with it, but I don't know. It's not listen, I'm not even going to focus on it. I'm not even going to talk about it on Madcast. I might bring it up for 5 minutes and that's about it. And I'm just going to move on with my life because like I said, I'm going from Requiem into Crimson Desert. That, like, you know what I mean? And then I'll hop, skip and a jump from there into Forza, and then from Forza into Lego Batman, and then into 007. And then we'll see what happens in the fall.
The moral of the story is
Marathon's not even on the list.
Yeah, the moral of the story is don't ask Mag and Colt if High Guard, Marathon, or Hunter's Gathering is good.
I'm not even doing the Hunter's Gathering.
Yeah, I played 4 or 5 matches of Marathon with Red Wolf, and I don't know. It's just like, that's not my thing. And the thing about Arc Raiders is, when I played Arc Raiders, I felt the brilliance, and I'm like, I don't know how much I want to play this, but I know it's great. Like, I know this. I can see why people love it, and so I can recommend a game like that. But I just didn't feel that way with Marathon. Let's talk about exclusives because
exclusive.
There you go. PlayStation had, according to Jason Schreier, people are calling bull crap. I'm here to tell you, you should probably just wait until the answer comes out because Jason Schreier's probably correct that PlayStation wants to pare back on PS ports or PlayStation PC ports, but it's most likely that they're just going to slow them down and maybe stop outside of some of the committed ones. Like your live service games will be on PC, but as far as them putting Wolverine or Ghost of Yotei on PC, I would err on the side of Jason Schreier that they're probably saying, let's just not do that. Let's not even put that on the schedule at all right now until we know what we want to do. And I think the reason is PlayStation wants that line to continue to grow for consoles. And why give any excuses not to buy a PS5? And with the recent push of Xbox on PlayStation, PlayStation's like, why should we do anything? Well, I said here last week with you, Mag, that, hi, Red Wolf. We did try. Yeah. I said here last week that, thanks, Red Wolf, for ADD moment. ADD, drink it, then convert it to pee. I don't remember what I was going to say. That I talked about how Xbox puts their games on PlayStation. Oh, how PlayStation is going to put games like Horizon Forbidden or Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Lake. I am like really having a hard time speaking today. I've gone through it today. All right. I'm an emotional wreck. I'm good. I'm here. I'm smiling. And not
He's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, stop worrying about him.
No, you know what though? Can I tell you something?
Yeah,
tell me. We're off by like 3 seconds. Our audio syncing is off by like 3 seconds. And
you think so?
The feed, and the feed looks great, but that's why you and I are stumbling over each other's words, because you're hearing me 3 seconds later as opposed to live. So you know what I might do? I might actually back out and come back in. I mean, it's not me. Like my thing's blazing, and I'm Ethernet connected. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Back out.
And it's like it's off. Like Discord has been effed up since yesterday. At least for me. At least for like I know
the only way I can get rid of Mag is to talk.
Okay. Hold on. I'll be back in a second.
So anyway, I was saying,
I'll be right back. And it's like I said, not me, but it might help.
Before he finishes his sentence. So anyway, I was saying, look, there's Mag. He's gone. I was saying that PlayStation decided not to do these ports on Xbox because Xbox just gave up and started putting their games on the platform. So I don't know. I guess I don't blame PlayStation for saying, why should we even bother to do PC ports? And this comes in with the Asha Sharma thing. Like, what is she going to do differently? Mag, what's going on? Like, what's your thoughts on the PlayStation PC thing? And then we'll talk about Xbox.
Okay, we'll dovetail right into that. By the way, the syncing is fine, but your voice still bots on Discord, so
it does. Okay, it probably sounds. I go straight through to the stream, so I don't know what it is.
Right. Yeah. So you're fine, but like even like from what I'm hearing, like you sound like Optimus. You sound like Starscream from Transformers. Like, we are here for you, Megatron.
I'll be the new leader.
Yeah. Anyways, that's Colt.
Who did that voice of Starscream, by the way?
Look at Rip. Don't ask the pony. Yeah, ask the pony. Ask the pony with this shirt on. Wolf in sheep's clothing right here. Anyways, all seriousness. Are we going to give Jason Schreier and Nate the Hate the flowers, or are we going to give ourselves the flowers because we talked about this in October?
Oh, here we go. Mag looking for all the clout.
Hey, man, I asked the community. I said, you guys remember me? And they're like, I remember the exact episode in XNC when you talked about it in October, saying Sony was slowing down their PC ports. And I'm like, yeah, because I heard it from someone at Microsoft, funny enough, and not from someone from Sony. And then I talked to two people at Insomniac, and they corroborated. They're like, yeah, we heard the same thing. So I was talked to three different people, and that was back in September. Then I brought it up in October on this very show. So if anybody wants to go back and find it, it's one of the episodes in October, I think it was October and or September. And we talked about it on this very show about how we heard it from three different people. And now all of a sudden, 4 months later, now it's starting to come out. I'm like, we told you, but it's fair enough. Listen, and I got a lot of flack for it, but I'm like, you know what? Fair enough. Not an insider, never claimed to be. I'm just saying when something crosses my plate and it's interesting and something that's conversation worthy, I'll bring it up. I'll just be like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, you guys decide whether you think it's real or not. It's all good. But anyways, I did a video about it. I talked about it and I said, the thing is, it's not even just about the PlayStation 5 anymore. they're already eyeballing the PlayStation 6 at this point, right? So when they're looking at that and they're looking to sell those new consoles, right? They're looking to sell those new consoles in a couple of years or maybe next year. Who knows? Like, there's no been an official word whether it's been delayed or not. But either way, it'll be either next year or in the next couple of years, right? So therefore, that being the case, they want to bolster those immediate out of the gate sales. So they set that precedent for the generation moving forward. They had a bit of they didn't really stumble that much, but I mean, the COVID was a big problem, right? And that was going to be an issue for them. Like, oh man, what are we going to do here? People couldn't go to stores. People were, standing outside. You go to Best Buy and they throw your bag on the sidewalk. You're like, here, take it, you filthy animal. You're wearing your Darth Maul mask on. You know what I mean? It's like, it was hard to get a console. So therefore, they want to set the precedent for the generation moving forward. The only way to do that is not convolute your product. And by spreading it out there's 3 facets here. That's the first one. The first one is next generation. They want to set that precedent, get those sales moving right away. The second precedent is you've got the Steam machine. The Steam machine is coming out. It's going to be a console in the living room. They're looking at it as competition. Regardless of whether people think about it or not, Sony's going to look at that as competition. And therefore, they're going to say, there's a box in the living room that's accessing our games. So what happens now? Everybody who buys that Steam machine is going to say what? Oh, Wolverine? I'll just wait for my Steam machine. Right?
Yes.
I'll just wait. I'm not going to buy a PS5 for that. I'm not going to buy a PS5 Pro with the PSSR2 and all this other jazz. No, I'll just wait and play it on my Steam machine. Then you've got option number 3. Option number 3 is the Xbox Magnus, ROG Xbox Ally X. Okay? You've got a handheld that's already out in the market now. You've got a Magnus coming out next year. Sony is going, we don't want Xbox players to say, Intergalactic, whatever the hell it's called, Heretic Prophecy, we'll just wait for my Magnus. I'll get it on the Magnus. If it scores like a 94 Metacritic or something. I know it's game of the century, but I'll get it on my Magnus later on. Sony doesn't want that either. The only place they want you to be able to buy it is in the only place that they actually have a storefront is on their console. So therefore, they're basically taking it away from there to funnel people back into their ecosystem, which is a smart business move. Period. It's a smart business move. I would do the same thing. And they're successful as hell. You cannot say they're not. Yeah, they're about to outpace the PS4. And that doesn't even include when Wolverine and Modern Warfare 4 and GTA 6 drop. By next year at this time, we're going to be talking about some record-breaking sales for their consoles. That's what they want to maintain. And in order to do that, you can't have people sitting around saying, I'll wait to play the next PlayStation game on my Magnus 6 months from now, a year from now, 3 months from now, whatever. And that is, it's a smart business strategy to get people to either say, you want to play this awesomeness? You got to go over there. That's it. It's pretty simple.
There's multiple layers.
Xbox can't do the same literal table. Sorry, I was gonna answer something in the chat real quick.
Yeah,
he says, why can't Xbox do the same? Because they don't have the numbers. They don't have the numbers that you know what I mean? Like, they don't have, like, if they had 80 million consoles in the wild right now, Xbox should absolutely do that. Problem is they don't. That's pretty much it.
There's multiple problems here. And I've got videos talking about how PlayStation cannot block their games on the next generation Xbox console via Steam. I've said that. I looked into legality. They can't block their games to say that device can't play our game on Steam. They have no legal right. The only way for PlayStation, I said this in the video too, the only way for PlayStation to keep their games off of the next generation Xbox is to take them off of Steam. Now, they won't be able to do that because I think there's 32. I keep saying 50, but I think there's some former exclusives that aren't first party that make up almost 50, but 32, let's say 32 games that will always be playable on this next generation Xbox going forward. But I think Mag is right. PlayStation looking at that like, I wish we could block them, because don't put it past PlayStation to be petty. They will absolutely be petty. And when you think that Xbox, yeah, and if you think Xbox,
when it comes to billions of dollars, I'm going to be petty as F.
Yeah, and when people say
friend business,
Yeah, and when people say that Xbox is not competing with PlayStation or PlayStation is not competing with Xbox, you're dead wrong if you think Xbox is not their competition. They are absolutely doing everything they can every single month to bury the Xbox platform, because you should want to bury your competition. They can sit there and say, competition is great for the industry. It helps breed innovation. CEOs like Peter Moore can say, the competition's healthy to breed innovation, and it's great to help us all do better. PlayStation and Nintendo are not interested in that. They are interested in killing their competition so they can rise above and be the de facto place to play games. Now, Nintendo and PlayStation already are the de facto place to play games. Nintendo is the de facto place to play games for everybody on a mobile system that is incredibly popular. And then the PlayStation is the Kleenex brand of tissues. When you think of a video game system, your grandma's like, get off that PlayStation. You're like, Mom, I'm on the Ouya. Well, you don't call your mom grandma either. But
Mom, I'm on the Soldier Boy.
I'm on the KFC console, Mom.
Two other things I wanted to bring up real briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. There's two things I wanted to bring up briefly that you mentioned there. The first thing I want to bring up is the financial situation. Now, if you look at the financial breakdown, over the 5 years, they made $2.4 billion in PC sales. They made in the same time frame $100 billion on the PlayStation console. So when you look at that, it's basically like a flea on a horse's ass. And the problem is you're putting time, you're putting R&D, development, labor, all going into those PC ports for a less than 2% of that. It's not worth it. Now, the other thing is optics. Now, optics is very important for companies when it comes to their image. And the reason why is because when you've got a crappy port of Spider-Man 2 that had tons of problems at launch on the PC, a lot of bugs, a lot of issues, Mary Jane floating in the air when they're walking, it was hilarious. And you had the other ones on Last of Us, when they did the Last of Us remake, part 1, and then remastered. You had Ellie on the horse, and she started flying all over the map like the Flash. Or there was another part where there was a cutscene, and Ellie and that other broad that he was dating before, I don't know, at the beginning of Last of Us.
How many times have I told you?
What?
Don't call chicks broads.
I said she was a broad because she was a broad. She wasn't a woman. She was a nasty piece of work. I'm glad she died. But anyways, then in the background while they're talking and having a serious conversation, Ellie is literally on her head doing head spins. No, not Dina. No, the woman that Joel was dating in part 1.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay.
At the very beginning.
Yeah. She turns on.
So,
okay. It's been a while.
So anyways, Ellie is spinning on her head like she's doing an 80s breakdance. And I'm sitting there watching going, oh my God. So if you want to watch like hilarious like videos on YouTube of like compilations of all the funniest bugs in some of the Sony ports, Sony doesn't want that. Because that makes them look bad. And when it makes it look bad on top of it, that's an extra stress they don't need for less than 2% of growth. And so they're looking at that and going, this ain't worth it. So you measure up all the things that I had said. It absolutely makes 100% sense why they would even consider doing it. Now, we haven't heard absolute confirmation from Sony, but they don't have to confirm. All they just have to do is just not say anything at all.
Yeah. I agree.
when they have Soros out there and Wolverine, just not do it. And then all of a sudden in like 2 years, you're like, hey, wait a minute, it's 2028. Where's Wolverine? No one's going to ask that question. Well, people will ask that question and go, where the hell's Wolverine? Sony just doesn't have to answer. They don't have any reason to tell the public.
The problem with not saying anything is PC gamers will wait. They always wait. And so they'll wait for Wolverine, wait. And like they'll say,
you can wait till you're dead.
They're like, Spider-Man was 14 months, so maybe this one's 12, maybe it's 16, maybe it's 18 months. They'll wait and they'll wait and they'll wait because there are certain people that just won't buy it because I want to play it the way I want to play it. But the reality is, so many people will buy Wolverine on PS5, so it will sell really well. My issue with Xbox having its own exclusives is the popularity of their games does not match the popularity of the biggest games of the year or PlayStation's games. People don't like to hear it, but I wholeheartedly feel like outside of Forza Horizon, Xbox's games aren't uber popular or aren't at the top of the discussion list. And it makes me worry about Fable, which I think will be a really great game. Like, I'm predicting Fable's probably going to be an 86 to an 88 on OpenCritic. It'll probably get a pretty good review. It'll be well loved, but a bunch of Game Pass guys will leech the game and its sales figures will look really dire. And I don't think Fable's going to grow Game Pass past the 30 million mark. So let's talk about Xbox's
You mentioned
exclusives.
Game Pass.
Yeah, I want to talk about Game Pass because...
You mentioned Game Pass. That's an important thing. Sorry, go ahead. You go first.
I want to say that Asha Sharma has to look at some very disruptive things to do to Game Pass. One thing she could do is turn Game Pass into a PS Plus. Turn it into a 1 or 2 tier system where get cloud out of there. We don't want cloud. Stop bundling all this crap in. I don't need World of Warcraft in there. Most people who play World of Warcraft don't want Game Pass. Like, this one size fits all marketing approach for Xbox is not working. And we got an announcement this weekend that Microsoft is hiring 2 main marketing people for the Xbox division, which goes in line with what Mag said, that some of the studios are uprising saying, where the F is our marketing? Like, how can you just like have so-and-so put out a tweet, or we're putting out our own tweets under our own game account, our own studio account. And that's really the effing marketing that we're getting for our games that we spent $100 to $200 million on. So she has to be looking at how can we further market our games. I also said recently that Xbox's games what are you supposed to do to market them when they don't fly off the page? The other day, I'm sorry to make a comparison to PlayStation again, but you're basically looking at Xbox Studios, PlayStation Studios. PlayStation Studio says September 15th, 2026, and gets 34,000 likes. Xbox could never. I don't care if you're talking about, if Gears E-Day put out a tweet tomorrow and said October 2nd, 2026, maybe there'd be 10,000 likes or 20,000 likes, but everyone already knew what the release date was for Wolverine. Insomniac wakes up and says, hey, let's make, $2,100 on a tweet and let's just put out the release date and that thing will blow up. Xbox needs to figure out how to make their games look incredible. Maybe it's the marketing team that says, hey, the studios do a great job showcasing their games. I'm saying a lot. I have a lot to say. Playground's doing a good job of showing us Fable. They could have done a better job of showing us the combat, but you need a marketing juggernaut in there going, this is how you show your game. You want to sell this game so it explodes off of people's phone screens. You need to show them like this really cool stuff. You make them feel like they're there. And sometimes a game just doesn't look like that way when it comes off the page. Like, Avowed. I think Avowed is an awesome game. It's it's an 80 out of 100. I gave it an 85. I think it's awesome. But people look at that game from a distance on their phone and like, nah, I'm good. I'll play it on Game Pass. So, Meg, you wanted to say something about Game Pass, so let's dive into that.
Well, you were talking about the sales and why they can't go exclusive, and the reason is Game Pass. Because if it wasn't for that, when you've already got, let's say, if you're comparing to the other side of the pond, the blue side of the pond, and you're talking about that they've got what, like a quarter of the crowd that's over on the Xbox side of things, or even like just under a third of what's going on Sony's side, taking them specifically, as we'll call them head to head. Now take away another monster percentage of that, not a monster percentage, but take away another percentage of that of people that are on Game Pass who will not purchase the game anyway. So if you make it exclusive, it doesn't make a difference because you're not going to get any more sales out of that because people are like, well, I'll just play it on Game Pass, which is whatever. That's what they got. That's what they do. They're going to have to deal with that in their own way, and we'll see how they get it done. However, that being the case, when we get into the marketing, it has to be retooled from the ground up. And the problem is, I've noticed with Xbox is awareness. When Avowed dropped on the PlayStation, I don't know a single person who knew about it. I asked people, and I didn't even know about it. And then someone told me, they're like, oh yeah, Avowed is on PlayStation. I'm like, since when? And they're like 6 days ago. And I'm like,
today somebody said, I think I'm going to play that when the New Game Plus drops. I'm like, it's been out 2 weeks. Yeah.
I had no idea. And the thing is, you got to put it out there. Even if and the thing is, if you're a publisher now, and you are a publisher, then you've got to get the word out. You can't just leave it in Sony's hands and say, oh, well, you know what? It's going to your console. You guys deal with it. And, they did with Halo, for example. You go to the PlayStation store and right smack front and center was Master Chief. He was right there with his, his gun, whatever. And he's there and it's like, I was like, wow, that's pretty wild. But that came from Sony. That did not come from Microsoft. So the thing is, when Microsoft is now going to be a publisher, well, then you got to start acting like a publisher. So for example, when Capcom did their marketing for Resident Evil Requiem in London, I think it was in London, they had like those gigantic, like superimposed windows on the side of buildings with all those like zombie hands coming out. There were people on the street just going to work and going, and they're all just staring at it, like, because it looked really cool. And then they had other things where they were
spend some money.
They like you do something.
Yeah.
Put Master Chief on London Bridge. Put the Freedom Tower in New York. I want to see Marcus Phoenix on that thing. You know what I mean? Like, do something. Just like Sony put Spider-Man all over the subway cars in New York. That helps. And if you don't have the awareness out, and it's not us, not the chat. The chat knows what's going on. We know what's going on.
I was in New York and they had a Borderlands
at the 85% casuals that are on the subway going to work.
Yeah. Hold on, did I lose your audio?
Borderlands what?
Oh. I was in New York City in downtown Manhattan. They had a gigantic 3D Borderlands,
yeah.
like it was like, kind of like interactive, like a gigantic building size lit up LED animated Borderlands 4 thing. And Borderlands 4, like a lot of marketing behind it. It's supposed to be a big game. I don't think it's sold as well as 3, but they still spent the money like they wanted to be the biggest game. Maybe that's an example why it doesn't help if your game isn't good enough.
Yeah.
But gosh dang, Xbox, like unpucker and start spending some money and show your studios and your games that they're worth it. The whole thing about Game Pass, when I said maybe Asha needs to do something disruptive, like make it more like PS Plus. Say, here, I went off on a tangent. I said, get rid of the cloud thing, but I'm like, give online access because next generation, you can't charge. So just make Game Pass this thing that gives you access to 400 some games and then you're going to hate to hear this, but I think it's necessary. Our games from first party studios won't come to Game Pass for a certain amount of time. But what that time will be is to them internally, 1 year at least. 1 year at least until we decide this is a good time window. So let's say Fable is supposed to come out in, I don't know if they'd make something this soon. Let's say Fable is like October 1st, whatever, okay? Fable comes out October 1st, and they've already told you that they're going to pull first-party games from Game Pass, and you're like, well, when's it coming? And it's like, well, it might be out October 2027 on Game Pass, but we also have to meander around the next Call of Duty or this game, so we might push it into December. Maybe that's something that they're looking at, because if you think Asha's going to come in and just do what Phil Spencer did better, that's not why he left on a Friday morning. Right, Mag? So, I don't lean on Game Pass like I used to.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
I don't lean on Game Pass like I used to. Like, I have a subscription to a certain amount, and we were saying this off the air, or were we saying on the air when we're like, if they kind of get rid of Game Pass or fully change it, you were like, what did you say? What do they do to the future?
Right.
I don't want to steal your thunder. It was a good comment.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Damn it. Now I forgot.
You said, what do they do for the people who said, hey?
Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head. We said so much in like an hour.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, in that respect. Sorry. So yeah, if you got rid of Game Pass, you'd have a whole other logistical problem of people being like, I'm stacked up until Stardate 39564. And it's like, what? What's that? It's like, when like Captain Picard is flying around Uranus, and you're still got Game Pass subscribed from, I stacked up 7,500 years. Yeah, that'll be an issue. But you know what? That's pretty easy to actually do. If you were to ever actually make Game Pass obsolete, and you said, forget it, it's done, they can phase it out. And then what they do is they just credit everybody. They just credit you.
Yeah, they convert
for all the
you
months to be like, here you go. Here's $1,000 for X amount of months at this price.
No, they won't. They won't do that. What they would do is if there's no more paywall and you're on Magnus, so there's no online paywall, they'll have to pay you out in some other service, or they'll give you the equivalent, which will be downgraded because Game Pass was this 400, 500 game plus service. They'd have to give you some like lower equivalent. It would actually be horrible, as always. Like if there was a paywall, they would give you the equivalent in paywall credit. We've seen it before, and they did the same thing when people were stacked up too far. They kicked them back, and people were pissed. So the corporation will always do that to you, no matter who they are. So yeah.
By the way, the chat is starting to notice now. It's everybody's saying I'm lagging. I'm not lagging. It's coming from the other side.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm responding 10 seconds after you because I don't hear you for 10 seconds. I'm like literally sitting here live, and your bot, like when I'm looking at you, the Discord is botting you like crazy.
Yeah, and when I look, you're pretty smooth and
I just checked all my metrics here. Everything's good.
Yeah, I don't want you to do a freaking recycle or anything like that. It's fine. We've had worse, haven't we, Mag? We've had much worse.
Yeah, no, we've had far worse. Yeah, but I don't know. It's kind of crazy. But
just write in the chat, guys. Is the show, other than us talking over each other because of the lag, is the show reasonably enjoyable to listen to? Some people are saying it's kind of stable. So okay.
Some people are saying it's stable. Some people are saying I'm freezing for some reason. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, but I'm on a gold Ethernet connection. So, and I just looked and I'm like blazing like hard.
They're saying it's fine. Now, like we don't worry about us. Like,
all right, that's good enough.
We just want you guys to enjoy.
I just want to make sure it wasn't.
We appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Shout out to 635
there's one thing
people
that
are here.
Asha has.
Lay it on me. What's Asha got? What's she?
Asha's got a very unique situation. Yes. She has a very unique situation for 2026 is that she's literally walking into a job where they're about to drop like 4 gigantic games in 1 year. You've got Forza Horizon, you've got Modern Warfare 4, you've got Gears of War, and you've got Fable. That's a pretty easy layup for you as the new head of Xbox to walk into a year like that. It would have been much funnier if she walked into 2022 where you're like, all right, I'm the head of Xbox. What do we got? And they're like, nothing.
We have Pentiment.
We have Pentiment. And then she'd be like, shit, I should have stayed at Home Depot. But anyways, you know what I mean? And so like you got an easy layup there, sister. You got an easy layup. You got 4 monster games. Now, here's the thing. They made a move today. I saw some people in the chat talk about it. And what they did talk about was they've got the unique situation of you hired 2 new people. Okay, you hired 2 new marketing experts or whatever else. I think that's a mistake. Now, when she talked about this, now hear me out before you get all wild. She talked about going back to that original feeling of being a renegade, being sort of like a rebel sort of vibe culture about Xbox, this and that. You know what you do when you want to be a rebel and a renegade? Don't hire marketing experts. You know why? Because marketing experts come out of school. They don't know anything. Maybe they're older. Maybe they have lots of experience. But the thing is, they work off metrics because these people are corporate drones. You have to get somebody out of the box. You have to start thinking out of the box. You want to hire somebody? Hire me. I will show you what to do. I will come up with the crazy ideas that some corporate drone who's licking your boots is never going to tell you. And I'll tell you straight to your face. And I'll be like, no, you suck. No, you suck. I'd be like,
Meg's
you guys
first marketing
suck.
beat
This is
would
garbage.
Meg's first marketing commercial would be, Halo sucks, doesn't it? We're about to fix that.
But I wouldn't say that. I mean, I wouldn't even say the games are fine. I'd be like, listen, man, the games are the games. That's a whole separate beast. You want to they got to create great games and everything else. That's a whole separate department. You're talking about the people that have been failing at marketing for 13 years. And it started with Don Matrick going like this. Okay? You remember that stupid face he made when he was like pointing at the Xbox? The Xbox One? It started there and it never got better. So the thing is, you've got to go grassroots. You want to talk about being a rebel? You want to talk about, going against the grain? That's how you do it. Don't hire marketing managers that are going to literally just print out a bunch of crap and they just read the metrics to you and they go in the boardroom and they're going, they got a little stupid laser pointer going, well, the metrics say that statistically, shut up. That's what got you in this place.
The
Start
freaking
thinking
boardroom
Hollywood.
crap. Yeah. Okay,
Start
Meg,
thinking Hollywood. Start thinking like a wild producer and go, guys, what if we do this? What if we do that? You got to get someone fresh who's not tainted by metrics and corporations. That's how you make marketing great.
How do you bring Xbox? When she says, I want to bring it back to Xbox or bring Xbox back, everyone automatically thinks it's an exclusives thing. I don't think she's going to bring back exclusives. They could have timed exclusives on PC and Xbox console only. I just fear that many of their games would fail financially. That's actually kind of a dumb thing to say. I could tell you that I feel like some of their franchises would fail if they're not sold on the PlayStation, but that's not true now, is it? Because Xbox has never sold their games on PlayStation outside of Minecraft and legacy games, right? So the only thing that's missing is Xbox can no longer hit a 30% profit margin expectation without PlayStation in the mix. But maybe Satya's like, okay, we did the 30% thing because we wanted a reason to get rid of Sarah and Phil. That's a colloquial thing I just said, but maybe there's some truth to it. And now Asha's like, Satya, how strict are we on this 30% profit thing? And Satya's like, I don't know, I just said it when I was making some AI thing. I don't really care. It's like, just make a lot of money. And Asha's like, let's bring back the core Xbox fans who felt like they've been left behind. Now, Meg and I have sat here and we've done this podcast every Monday for 2 years straight now since Phil said, it's not a signal what's to come. We're not going to put our games on PlayStation. It's not Starfield. It's not Indiana Jones. It's been 2 years and we've talked about this, and I've watched some of you leave and go to other Xbox podcasts that will give you a digital hug and tell you it's going to be okay. It's PlayStation's fault. It's come to our channel. We'll make sure that nothing negative or critical is said about Xbox. I kid. I love them all, but we've been here. It's been tough, but we've watched the core Xbox fans say, I'm out. Haven't we, Meg?
Yes. Yeah.
So how does she bring them back?
But the thing is that what you're not trying to do, you're not trying to bring people back. What you have to do is you're trying to attract, like, what marketing is and what business is all about is not only just retaining what you have. What you've lost, it's very hard to get that back. Like, for example, it is almost the same as trying to gain back someone's trust after you broke their trust, right?
Yeah.
And as a result of that, you're not going to be able to get those people back. So what it's going to be is that now you have to continue to push forward and attract new clientele. For example, when people ask, why the hell does Coca-Cola spend $30 million to do an advertisement on Super Bowl when everybody knows what Coke is, right? The reason is not for you. The reason is because you're attracting the 4-year-old, the 5-year-old, the 6-year-old, the new generation of people that are not privy to it. And that's why they keep doing it. When you see McDonald's say 99 billion people served and they keep advertising, we're like, well, 99 billion, they don't need to advertise. Yes, you do. Because then every day someone new is being born that doesn't know what McDonald's is. And you have to keep doing that. So now,
the commercial just gets you in the mood to go grab a Coke or go grab McDonald's. Even if you're a diehard customer.
Right. And that'll get you in the mood for it.
Yeah.
If people have moved on to something else, you're not going to get them back. They're already going to be there and they're going to be like, yeah, I'm doing my thing over here. And especially, here's the other reason why you won't get them back, is because Xbox opened up accessibility everywhere. So there is no need to go anywhere. They've brought it all to you, which is fine too. If you got a PC, you could play all your Xbox there. So if you left Xbox and went to PC, you're never going back to an Xbox. You're there. If you want to play their games, you're going to play them on the PC. If you got a PlayStation, why the hell would you buy multiple consoles next generation when you could buy just one and play all your Xbox games on a PS6? So, you won't be able to do that on a Magnus anymore. And that was another reason why that's why now you could do a PlayStation 6. Now you can play everything. So people will buy just the one because it's going to be very pricey. So you're not going to get those people back. What you have to do is attract a new generation. However, there's going to be a lot of problems and caveats with that. She did mention that She's going to bring the experiences to the gamers, which means more accessibility. So she's going to have to go with accessibility, because my personal feeling, and not a person, just a feeling, it's going to be a fact, is that the Magnus is going to price a lot of people out of the console space. They're going to look at that price, the sticker shock, and be like, yeah, enjoy that. That's cool. I ain't paying whatever X amount of dollars for that. So now you have to approach it as less than 5% or buy a Magnus. Okay. Everybody else will have to either keep what they got, buy older hardware, or access through cloud. That's why I'm going to disagree with you on the cloud thing, because the cloud is going to be very important for their future, because hardware is going to price a lot of casuals out. Therefore, you need accessibility. Cloud is going to be that accessibility for a lot of people. Smart TVs are getting better. Smart monitors are getting better and stronger and more powerful as the day goes on.
Cloud infrastructure is getting better.
Your experiences.
Yeah.
Cloud infrastructure is getting better. It'll eventually get cheaper. Right now, it's very expensive to run, but it will get cheaper over time as they become more efficient. So that being the case, they still have to lean on that accessibility. So it's not about bringing people back. It's about bringing more people, exposing more people to their service. That's all it is, really.
Yeah, and when I think about the Steam machine, I think it's probably going to be $800. I mean, if I had to bet on it,
I think so.
It's an $800 machine, right? And then 6 months later, Xbox announced their console PC hybrid, and anybody can look at that and go, that's just like the Steam machine, only it's a little bigger and more powerful. And I've said this a lot, but you have to pay attention to this. Gamers who are just on PC could say, well, I could get the Steam machine, but Xbox is going to do the same thing the Steam machine does. I don't know if I'll like the UI as much, but it also has Xbox games and PC games. The Steam machine won't have Xbox games. So just by the very nature of it, I don't know if Microsoft's banking on this, but I mean, it could be their selling point, saying, you like the Steam machine? This does all that and more, and absolutely it will. The majority of PC gamers are not like people like Gaz or me or Rand, who built a really expensive production PC to play games on and do production. The majority of PC gamers are playing on outdated, just good enough hardware, and they're absolutely happy and loving it. So when they look at an affordable $800 Steam machine or a $1,200 Magnus, they're like, that thing is twice as or three times as more powerful than my current build. And I could just, if I want, I could just grab that thing and throw it in the living room. And all my games are there. Right. And maybe Microsoft is saying, we don't know, like if Steam Machine does really well, it will pave the way for Xbox Magnus. You and I used to say 10, 15 million tops. And now we're feeling, man, is it going to be like 8 or 10 million at the most? But you never know. I guess don't discount. Xbox fans aren't going to be the only ones buying the Magnus if they do it right.
Right.
And I'll say one more thing.
There are going to be other people out there. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I'll say another thing that I always say, the Xbox Magnus will sell really, really well in the first year or two. And that's only because the diehard Xbox fans, which make up 60 million something, the number always changes depending on my mood or how much water I've had that day. The diehard fans will jump on the Magnus as soon as they can afford it. So in the first year or two, the Magnus will sell pretty well until the diehard people have kind of had their fill. And then the layperson, I don't know, maybe they will just look at when I say layperson, I just mean the people that just aren't initiated will look at it and say, go, this thing's better than the Steam Deck on paper. And I just saw someone say, Colt, stop. Donnie, are you serious? Like, do you pay attention to the games industry? Do you look at the Steam surveys? Do you look at the very small minority of gamers are worshiping one single platform or device? I'm talking like maybe 1 to 2 million at the most. Sit there and go, oh, this is the corporation that I lick the boot of constantly. The majority of gamers just want to play on a great system that runs well and that has access to the games they want to play. And so maybe, and I said many times, maybe, I said this a lot of times, Donnie, maybe Microsoft is hoping that the console hybrid form factor will do a lot better than it did last decade. The Steam machine went nowhere in 2015, But maybe in 2027 or 2026, people are like, yeah, I want to do that. I want to put that thing where my computer was, or I want to put that thing in my family room up to my big TV, and I want to play all of my games. And I don't know, when I say that maybe the Magnus will sell well for what it is in the opening year or two, maybe that's enough for Xbox to say, let's have some form of timed exclusivity. Because if you're willing to wait 12 to 14 months for Fable or Blade, which, I mean, I think that, I don't know, whatever. If you're willing to wait, if they were going to do that, then go ahead and wait. But the FOMO will drive people insane if the games are good enough. I'll say again, my issue is
the games. That's what it's got to.
Yeah, say it. You finish my sentence.
No, I was just going to say it boils down to the games. It boils down. All of this stuff that we talk about. We could just talk about it till kingdom come. But the thing is, if you don't have the quality games to back it up, people are not going to come to your product. People aren't just going to automatically buy a box, whether it's from whoever. If you're serving up shovelware. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like that's where you've got to have 90 Metacritic games and not just 90 Metacritic games. You have to have 90 Metacritic games, high 80s, mid 80s, whatever. And you have to have the fans are saying this game is awesome. It doesn't have to be like, it's not based on just a number, but it has to be like, because I mean, we saw some Xbox games actually that came out in the last 2 years, mostly from Obsidian, that scored very well, but they just didn't connect with people. Like there was a lot like 80, like what was it? What the hell was it? Was that Worlds 2 like 80 something? What was it, like 86?
Yeah, it was like an 81 or 82 or something.
Oh, 81. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What about Avowed? I thought Avowed was higher than that.
Avowed was just like an 80 on OpenCritic, which is across all the platforms.
Oh, okay. All right. But either way, that's still good.
Days.
Like anything in the 80s and above. But like, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's got to be able to connect with the people too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just, it all boils down to the quality of your software.
I want to, and Happy Bomb makes a good point. Like, are hardcore gamers going to spend $1,200 on a device?
Hardcore will, but hardcore don't support the industry.
And the diehard Xbox fans will absolutely be there day one for a $1,200 console that also plays any PC games that they want or have bought or will buy. And the hardcore gamers that spend, my PC is $3,000 after all the upgrades. And so I could do everything I need to do on it. And I am happy every day for that money I spent because it does all the work for me. When I'm playing games, they look great and I could do everything I need to. But yeah, absolutely. Hardcore spends so much money. I was talking to my buddy. He works in IT at my job. And he was like, oh, I build a PC every year. I go, why? He goes, I just like doing it. I build a really great one. I go, what do you do with the old one? He goes, oh, sometimes I give it to my son. Sometimes I hold on to it for a backup. But this year I'm going to wait a couple years. I'm like, that's insane. But I mean, diehards like to spend money. And, when you're talking about buying a gaming rig, like you want to buy or build one that can play games, you're spending $2,000 easily. No one's building a $600 budget rig to play games. Then the next game comes out and it doesn't even meet minimum requirements. Like, come on, we've looked at this stuff for a while. But Magnum was saying something in the chat. I sound like a smoker who's annoyed at people that used to smoke, an ex-smoker. Magnum, you have to understand how I've been about exclusives for years. I've got one meme where I said, just get an Xbox, sucker, with Blade. And it was some AI thing some guy made, and I shared it on Twitter because I thought it was hilarious when Blade got announced. But I've talked about exclusives the same. I've got videos from like 12 years ago or 9 years ago saying no one, like all of the people on console, they're not buying the exclusives. It's 12%. The diehards are the only ones buying the exclusives. And when Xbox didn't have any exclusives, I was always banging the drum like, where are your good games at? And now that they have the games, they're selling them on Xbox now or PlayStation. Now, the reason why I say maybe they need to do something different, because I'll tell you what, after all the things I've said about exclusives, and I will stand by 100% when I say exclusives benefit the studios, gamers, and franchises that they belong to because they will be healthier and they will all benefit from them. The only thing that exclusives benefit, and it's the whole reason why we're having this discussion, Magnum, exclusives benefit the people that sell you the plastic only. If you're a gamer and you feel like exclusives benefit you, you have to admit into your heart of hearts that they They benefit you because you have a bragging right and something to lord over the other people that are competing with you. What does it matter if PlayStation sells more consoles than your brand of Xbox sells more consoles? Until Xbox says we're canceling the console because we couldn't sell enough consoles, if they say we're canceling Magnus, then you'd be right. But they're going forward with this, and this will be their last one. The reason why I said they may have to bring some sort of exclusivity back is because, I'm going to say it loud, it's not working right now. They're putting games on PlayStation. They've left them off PlayStation. It's not working. So I think Asha needs to look at, not Usher, Asha needs to look at ways to change how they're doing business. She said, I'm going to look at why we did that. I'm going to look at why we put games on PlayStation. The answer is going to tell her to increase their profit margin, to increase the amount of money they're making versus how much they spend to make games. She's going to look at that, and that's going to be her answer. But maybe they're going to have to do something like John Linneman said today that the Xbox Series is a wash, and more words than that. And I agree, it is. Like, unless Xbox is willing to bring the Series S to 300 and the Series X to 500, which they won't because they'll lose $100 on each one of them, they're not doing anything to bring core Xbox gamers back right now. They have to say, we screwed up 2 generations in a row because we were inept and incompetent when it comes to marketing and delivering product for our exclusive console. So they have to move forward with the Magnus and say, we're going to let people buy games on Steam. We're going to let people buy PlayStation games on Steam on that thing, on Ubisoft, Uplay, GOG, all of that. And EA. They're going to be able to do that, and they have to have a reason why that's going to work. I don't know how that works. And I've talked about it in many videos. I don't know what their plan is. They obviously have some idea, because any idiot like us could say, well, they're just going to let other people buy, we're going to let people buy other people's games and make absolutely no money on software on a console that is so expensive. I don't know how it's going to work, but I've said a lot. I'm going to go back to that last statement and be done and say they have to do something different.
Yeah, because it hasn't been working up to this point. And now the thing is what that's the hardest part now for Usher. By the way, her name is Usher now from now on.
Yeah, Usher Raymond.
You said Usher by accident, and then now that's it. We've got Gandalf, we've got Usher now. You know, like we got Church Lady, Dana Carvey. We got all these names. That's it. It's Usher now. Yeah. DJ's got me falling in love again. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, that's it. That's it. Her name is Usher from now on. Anyway, so her challenge now is how would you re-engineer the situation? Because there's a lot of policies that are going to be solidified by Microsoft that are never going to change. And that's because, like I said, at the end of the day, she does not have full diplomatic immunity here. She still has to answer to her bosses. And her bosses are just going to say, hi, you're not touching this. You're not touching this. Here are the parameters. You have to work within these parameters. Make whatever changes you want, but you still got to fit in this box. You know what I mean? Like, you still got to fit in this mold that we've made. You can't. You're not just going to go radically changing this and that with investor money, because investors are already a little spooked with the way that they've been over the last little while. Anyway, so the problem is investors are going to be like, "Yo, what are they doing over there?" And so, like, that's when it keeps coming up in investor calls when someone's like, what the hell's going on with Xbox? Then, you know what I mean? That it's starting to become like an embarrassment at that point for Satya, that he has to go out there and explain everything or whatever, right? And so the thing is that you're going to start spooking investors. You can't do that. So by putting her inside of a mold and putting her inside of, like I said, conform her to the space and say, these are the parameters of which you're allowed to operate your business, make it happen, do whatever changes you think you need to do, but you still have to fit within this budget. You still have to fit within this business model and, you know, tinker away. But these are the list of rules that you have to follow. But that's just standard business. Like, if I go into a new place and there's like, okay, you're the director of operations, I'm like, cool. I can't just go in there willy-nilly and just doing whatever the hell I want. They're going to be like, no, Meg, you can't do that. That's not part of company policy. You can't do that. That's not part of company policy, on and on and on. And so you have to follow those too. So I don't know what kind of a tightrope she's going to have to walk across to deal with this, but we shall see. I mean, who knows? Who the hell knows?
She has to.
I mean, the fact that you got 2 marketing people coming in. That's already a start. Doesn't mean nothing, but I mean, at least it's a start. Now, does that mean that Greeny's on his way out the door too? Like just a change of the guard? Like, I mean, that's a possibility, right? So
a change in his responsibilities. And I don't know if Asha has to constantly run stuff by Satya. Like, there's probably a lot of things in the business that, you know, just get approved by Satya. But I forgot what I was gonna cover something. Yes, Happy Bomb, I did. Thank you for asking. Actually, just one of them I did. Not Copper. So, what was I going to say? So, as far as the exclusive thing go, oh yeah, I remember I was going to say, okay, let's take our minds back, everyone. We're going to go into the Wayback Machine, just a couple of years. It's 2025. We're waiting for Starfield. It's been delayed. Xbox has 0 games in the first half of 2023. All of 2022 is almost 0 games. Okay. So the whole entire generation, we're waiting for the big payoff of all the games that Xbox sold us on the Xbox Series X with Fable and Outer Worlds and State of Decay. Right, I could rattle them off, but we've done this. I've done the videos a million times. You talked about them. We get into the end in September. We're right around the bend of the end of 2023. Starfield comes out, does really well. And then Forza comes out and does horrible. And that's your 2023. 2024 comes in. We're not even started with the first Xbox release in 2024. And the news breaks that Xbox is putting their tentpole games on PlayStation. It didn't happen until toward the end of 2024. But you know damn well that the entire year of 2024, Mag, we sat here thinking they're going to do it. Something's in the truth of there. They're going to put 4 games and then they're going to put more. They're going to put more. What ended up happening was Indiana Jones was already slated for PS5. Starfield was rumored. Like, the Band-Aid was already off in 2024. The point I'm getting at, stay with me because this is important. We get into 2025, or we get through the year, and Xbox has their most games ever. And they're all on PlayStation. Doom, The Dark Ages, Oblivion Remaster, Tony Hawk 3 and 4, Gears Reloaded. We rattled off all these games, right? So it took 5 years. Xbox finally has all of their biggest games releasing. We never, as Xbox fans or as Xbox as a platform, never got to see if the acquisitions and studios and games they were building could stand on their own legs for the Xbox console. And to add insult to injury, they yanked their consoles away from the European market. They were putting stuff into the cloud. Xbox did everything to cut the legs out from under themselves. It wasn't Microsoft. It was their own fault. They put games on PlayStation. They couldn't sell their consoles. So when I say maybe, and I love some of you in the chat that were saying, hey, it's got to be something different. I love you for thinking that, because I think we're just kind of thinking maybe a little bit outside the box, that maybe there's a reality where Xbox puts out 6 to 10 games every year and they're not on PlayStation, and it starts to build up Game Pass. Because why subscribe to Game Pass? Why grow Game Pass when you're like, well, that game's going to come to my PS5 and my PS5 Pro, or I'll just play it on PC outside of Game Pass. You have to have some sort of exclusivity. And it sucks that I say this, because I already told you the statement that exclusivity is good for the game and the franchise growth. And then it's good for the gamer who gets to play whatever the F they want. But for Xbox, maybe it was all wrong. And maybe they have to do something different. But I can say that because I still don't know how it's going to work. Because once you stop selling games on PlayStation, you already put the genie out of the bottle and you can't shove it back in, as Desolate Gary said today.
Where do you draw the line, Colt? Like, where do you draw the line? Like, you're going to take away Call of Duty?
PlayStation? Yeah, like that kind of nonsense.
Like all of a sudden you're going to have all this nonsense. Now it's all going to be just it's just going to be a mess, because they're like, well, this can go, but this can't go. This can go, this can't go. And then when you look at some of the things, especially like Call of Duty, for example, when you've got 84.5% of the games were selling on PlayStation, because the majority of people on the Xbox and PC were either bought some of it, and then the rest of them were subscribed to Game Pass, playing it on the service for like the first month. And then there was a severe drop off of Call of Duty right after that. What do you do? Where do you draw the line? Forza Horizon sold 5 million copies of a 4-year-old racing game. Do you draw the line there? Do you think that they want to lose those 5 million sales of that game on the PlayStation? Now, you know what I'm saying? This is where this year will be very telling. This year is going to be very telling because if Forza Horizon 6, first of all, I'm not. It's going to sell a lot on PlayStation. I'm talking about specifically PlayStation, not Xbox. When you look at the end of this year, they're going to see which Xbox games sold really well on PlayStation, and then that's where they're going to go. No, you ain't making those exclusive. Forza Horizon stays over there because we're selling millions of copies. Call of Duty stays over there because we're selling millions of copies. Yep. Fable, hit and miss. But like, let's say Gears. It'd be like Gears sold really well over there. No, you ain't getting rid of that. That stays over there too. So then all of a sudden you've got this whole convoluted, muddy mess. Because you can have one side saying there's too much money involved, and then the other side saying, well, we need to make a change. This is a friggin' mess, dude. It is a mess. And I don't know how they're going to clean it up. Like, I don't know how they can change anything.
Wholesale changes. Well, hold on. MJ Fadeaway 96 keeps saying that this is ridiculous. Stop being delusional. They're not failing. Or they are failing. The Xbox brand is, their consoles
said they're failing, but
their series consoles are failing. That's it. Like, Game Pass isn't growing. Game Pass is making them $1 billion. They're making a ton of money on their games. They're making money on Game Pass and services and cloud. Cloud's doing really, really well. But when you look at, don't you love when you go to gaming podcasts and they do the food analogy? It's literally like having a McDonald's and a Burger King across the street from each other and saying, why the F is Burger King in business? They'll never catch McDonald's. That's just not how it works in the business, because Xbox is doing really well. Their revenue, their yearly revenue compared to Nintendo and PlayStation aren't that far off. PlayStation's ahead. I think Xbox might have more revenue than Nintendo because they have way more investments, but in their games division, they have way more going on. But they need to change something if they really mean we need to bring Xbox back, or we need to give Xbox Magnus like an actual launch that is meaningful and that doesn't just fizzle away. Like, that's key. Zocker's in the chat, and we were in Web Dave's show last night. A lot of really good, like, truthful and hard-hitting things being said. And Zocker says, so take the 30% hit selling on PlayStation while their own platform sells almost nothing. I don't see them making money on PlayStation while taking a smacking on their own platform. Yeah, it's, I'm with you, Mag. It is a murky ocean that they have to travel, because there's no way to draw a line.
No, there's no way to draw a line, and it would never happen, because the powers that be would literally sit there and go, sorry, excuse me, we sold, like I said, a 4-year-old racing game. We sold 5 million copies. What do you think the new one's going to sell? That's in Japan, by the way, that caters to that audience, right? So, that is not, by the way, I saw some idiot asshole in the chat say something stupid in there, pissed me right off. And he's like, Mangoles takes the anti-Xbox. You're literally stupid. I can't even fucking help you sometimes, man.
Haven't I been doing that as well all night, I feel like?
It's so stupid. 5 million copies on the other thing. Do you think that Microsoft is going to say, no, we're going to drop those? 84.5%. These are not arguable facts. Of Call of Duty sell on PlayStation. Are you going to pull that back and make it exclusive? No, you're not. You don't understand business. It's best you don't talk. And on top of that, Mr. Give me the mic, trust me, you don't want to embarrass yourself.
Meg, is Xbox failing right now?
Yes. They're not failing business-wise. They're making money. They're making money. They're not growing. There's a difference.
Okay, yeah. I'll
I guess essentially you could say, no, they're not failing. They're not failing. Yeah. They're just not growing. So to be fair, they're not failing. They're just not growing.
And they're not competing like they should. And that's to their own.
They're making money. They're making billions of dollars, dude. Don't get me wrong. They're making billions of dollars. They're making money. It's profitable, but they're not growing. The point of a corporation is to grow, not to stay stagnant. Stagnant is considered problematic. It's not considered failure, but it's considered problematic. So therefore, at that point, you're trying to grow the business, not make it. Sorry for the tangent, folks. I didn't mean to get all
that's all I've been doing all day.
I got really pissy pants right there. But anyways,
oh my gosh.
Anyway, I don't pay attention to people like that. Anyway, the point is that at the end of the day, you're not growing. You're not failing, but you're not growing. And Satya needs them to grow because at the end, like I said, once again, at the end of the day, the investors rule the roost. And if the investors are going in and saying, I put in $500,000, 1 million, 1.5 million, 3 million, whatever, they invest in the company and I'm not seeing the growth that I want to see, they're going to pull the money away and they're going to go invest in Uber or whatever. Right? Maybe not Bitcoin, but like certainly some not as volatile as that. But that's what they do. They're looking for constant growth. Therefore, Satya needs constant growth. Therefore, that's why profit margins kept going up. And that's why they kept squeezing them for more profit margins because the investors were putting pressure on them for not producing growth. And that is why Asha is in there. They're now putting a new change in guard to get somebody new in there to try to promote growth of the product. That's all it is. Is it failing? No, but it's not growing. That's all it is. Sorry, a long roundabout way of trying to say exactly that.
Hold on, I'm going to cover your camera here for a second as I close this. I want to pull up a graphic. Let me see if I can. Gosh darn! I thought I had it. I was going to play a little. I hate that. I thought I had this thing ready. I wanted to play a little game where we look at the Xbox Studios. Is the chat being okay, guys? Is the chat all right? Are we doing okay?
Oh, there was fighting in the chat like an hour ago. Like it's been going on for a while.
I know. Yeah. No, we don't bring people on. We don't bring people on the chat to be on the mic because you have to be sanctioned through the specialized business agreement that is signed behind the scenes that Mag had to sign when he joined. So I was going to throw the studios on here, even though they would kind of be a messy thing. But there, Randall Thor said something on his podcast. And I said, did you get a lot of kickback for that? Because I kind of brought up the idea on Web Dave's show and people got really ticked off. The idea was Rand said, well, what if Xbox decides to sell off parts or all or a big chunk of ABK and get the monkey off their back, he said, so they can have that financial burden off. But Zocker made a really good point saying that's where they make most of their money. Like it's a cash cow with ABK and King and all that stuff is a big deal. But, we were talking about what's the possibility of Asha going in and just getting rid of a lot of studios and saying which ones are the performers and which ones aren't. And I said, that'd be awful unless they, offered them independence. And I think the 3 studios that Xbox should seriously look at trying to give them their independence so that they can go back on their own would be Ninja Theory, Double Fine, and Compulsion Games. Now, Compulsion Games South of Midnight didn't sell very well. You and I like the game. Double Fine is I
love the game.
I know you.
I'm going to buy it for the Switch. I'm going to buy it for the Switch. Is it out for the Switch yet, Chad? Do you guys know? Because I'll buy it. I'll buy South of Midnight for the Switch.
Yeah, cool boss battles and a little bit repetitive, but definitely a game you should try out if you get a chance. But it was all right. Ninja Theory is actually profitable. They use their motion capture studio. Some of this stuff I've said in other shows. I'm sorry if you guys are hearing it again. But if people are like, they need to close down 343, but they're Halo now. They're Halo Studios. And gosh dang, they better kick some total butt when their new thing comes out. And I don't know how well that Campaign Evolved's going to do. Gears Reloaded didn't do very well. Lotus Esprit, thank you, says South of Midnight is coming to the Switch too soon, they said. So
I just looked it up, actually. I couldn't wait. So I looked it up, and it turns out it's coming out in the spring. So it just says spring 26. It doesn't have a release date, but I'll buy it there. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, and
it's a great game for handheld game. Yeah, it's a perfect handheld, like to play the Switch. Like I think South of Midnight would be a perfect game for that.
Yeah, I always kind of bag on the repetitive loop. It does the same thing over and over, but the boss battles are so unique that I kind of forget about those moments.
Man. The music was dope. Yeah. And all that, it was really good, man. I like I said, I'm going to buy it for the Switch too. So I'm starting to build up a little bit of a Switch 2 thing. Ever since that showcase, they sold me on buying games over there. And I bought the Resident Evil Legacy Edition with 7, 8, and Requiem. I've got obviously Nintendo games. I'm not going to buy Pragmata there. Pragmata I'm going to buy for a console. But I'm going to buy South of Midnight over there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's starting to make me, you see what marketing and sales can do? Marketing and promotion will get me to buy stuff for that. And I'm like, you know what? I don't mind like sitting in bed and playing like a little South of Midnight while I'm sitting in bed or whatever. Playing Resident Evil 7 right now while I'm in bed and I'm not playing at the console. You know what I mean? It's cool, man.
Give me a second. I blocked your camera so I can grab something. I hate the way that this does this, but I didn't have a I didn't have it. Hold on, it's coming up here, and then close, and you should be back. Yeah, I hate that the way the Discord works.
Midnight was good.
Discord
what is acting a damn fool tonight. No, he was saying it was. He says Southern Midnight was excellent on Steam Deck. Yeah, okay. Dude, Discord was acting a damn fool tonight. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Is it better now?
It's fine now. It's perfect now.
Okay.
Like you're not botting. You're like perfect, like normal. Like you're just like perfect camera, perfect everything. Everything is totally fine. We're actually synced. Like our audio is synced again. And of course, it happens like 10 minutes before the show's over. But you know how it goes.
Yeah. Okay, here it is. It's going to be gigantic. I'll fix it. Hold on. Oh, I love how there's two of them. Just love it, as my mom would say. Love it so much. Okay. Yes, remove this. Okay, so this is covering our screen. Let me see if this is on the feed here. Let me hit the live thing. Oh, okay. So what you're looking at is a heliocentric graphic that I've made. I've animated this for my upcoming video I'm working on. So I wish Xbox used something like this because this is a good way to look at the studios. But I'm going to do this very quickly. But Halo Studios and Activision probably aren't going anywhere. Arcane Leon's doing Blade. I'm going counterclockwise. Ninja Theory might look at doing something with them. Machine Games working on Wolfenstein 3. They're not going anywhere. Id's not going anywhere. They're putting out DLC for Doom: The Dark Ages.
Yeah, they're putting out DLC. Yeah, I heard about that.
ZeniMax Online might be in a little bit of trouble. Their project got scrapped, but they are also a big part of Fallout 76. Super popular. In fact, if I set this thing, I can in properties, I can set this thing to a filter, which is screen, and you should be able to you see us over it. Where is it? Oh, love that. Like I said, it's been a day. It's been a day. Blending mode. Screen. There. Okay, it's harder to see, but have fun with it, would you? Here, I'll go to just me for a second so you can see it.
Oh my God.
Can't do that.
It just superimposed us and the thing.
Yeah, I did that on purpose so I could talk. Because I can point to him. I can point to him. Okay, so id's not going anywhere. ZeniMax is working on, this is hard because it's mirrored. ZeniMax is working on Fallout 76. They're good. Obsidian is really well loved and kept among Xbox, so they're not going anywhere. And Exile, if what's it called? If Clockwork Revolution does okay, they should be good. I'm assuming. I guess Wasteland 3 did well, even though it didn't seem like everyone played it. This whole group down here, this is like this is the Call of Duty machine. That's not going anywhere. Double Fine, like I said. Double Fine needs to, maybe they need to go. I don't care about Kiln. And I just make Psychonauts 3 or something. Blizzard's their moneymaker. Turn 10. I don't know what's going to happen to Turn 10. Now Mag has to point to the rest of them. Turn 10 is maybe they're just going to be a support studio. I don't know if they'll get rid of the name, but maybe they'll just be a support studio for Forza Horizon. I don't know why they're ever going to go back to
dissolve the studio and absorb them into the other studios like Sony did with what's it called, Blue Point.
Yeah,
like they dissolved the studio, took the talent, and they put them into other studios for support. You know.
So what about Rare, Mag? What do you think is going to happen with Rare?
How is Sea of Thieves doing? Like, is Sea of Thieves still a thing? Like, I mean, I know it's
popular.
Thing, but
profitable and popular.
If it's popular and making them money, they'll stay. But you know what I can absolutely see them do? They're like, listen, if you're not working on the new IP, because there was that other IP that they scrapped, and then they started over again, and then they scrapped again. I think at this point, they'll probably shave the team down and just say, listen, man, if you guys are just going to be like a Sea of Thieves support team, we're going to cut you down by 40%. And then just have 40% work on it. Now, the other thing is you were talking about, what was it? ZeniMax Studios. They could shave them down and just have them as support. So you're probably going to get some people out of there too. Like I said, Wiseman in the chat said it. He's like, start trimming the fat. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Now they won't take the big ones because remember Sarah Bond said about 7 months ago, and she was already alluding to that. And she was already saying that they were going to focus on their big money-making IPs, the popular IPs, the middle-of-the-road IPs, right? Your Call of Duties, your Minecrafts, your World of Warcrafts, whatever. And so she was already talking about that then. That strategy ain't going to change now. Why? Because now she's going on a world tour with Booty. right? She's going on the world tour with Booty to go check out all the studios, and it's going to be like that scene from what the hell's that movie? God damn it, Office Space. But what exactly is it you do here? Okay, she's basically now the Elon Musk Doge when Trump took office. He's going to be going from area to area going, so what do you guys actually do here, right? And then they start cutting people down. Yeah, the Booty Tour. Exactly, Jacob Tapua. The Booty Tour. So now they're on the Booty Tour, and they're going to start shaving. You watch. When they finish the Booty Tour and they come back, they're going to be like, okay,
they're going to start doing
40%
something
here, 30% here. You're going to start seeing the slashes and the cuts, like, you know what I mean? With Satya, the slasher is going to come out.
Some of these studios have kind of been gravy trained, right? They're just kind of like working on their game, taking their time. One of them is Undead Labs. If I look at World's Edge, I don't know if somebody can correct me. World's Edge is they've been doing like the Age of Empires stuff, and I don't know how popular those are or how profitable, but I mean, personally, I don't feel like those games do amazing things or amazing numbers. I could be wrong, but I'd be worried about World's Edge.
You know, the thing is, I will also tell you, anybody taking their time, anybody taking their time, that's over. I'll tell you that right now. They're going to be like, you ain't sitting around eating your Niçoise salads for 2-hour lunches. You're taking 30-minute lunches and getting your ass back to work, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. Let's go. Get these games out in 4 years. You don't get 7 years anymore. And then all of a sudden you look at it. Now look at it. You have some games that took 6 years, 7 years, mediocre. You're not going to take 7 years and release a mediocre game that nobody bought. Never going to happen again. I can tell you that. Yep. I mean, if she goes the hardline stance. Booty, I don't know whatever he's doing. He's gonna fart in the microphone and run away. But she's got to go in there hard line, and she's got to be like, listen, man, 4-year cadence. That's all you get. You guys can't handle it. Go get another job. Yeah. Because there's other studios out there that are pumping right now. Okay, they're making things move. But if there's other studios out there, let's say outside of Microsoft, that take longer than 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years to make a game, and they make a game and the game's hot, well, it paid for itself, right? So it's fine. You've made the money, and it's all. We
just haven't seen that. We haven't seen a 7-year game pay off like a Grand Theft Auto game would. Like, we haven't seen that from Xbox Studios. Somebody in the chat, I don't know if they're being funny, said, is the coalition still around? Obviously, they're making Gears E-Day. They'll have their big moment at the end of the year.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine.
Xbox Game Studios Publishing is an arm that publishes games like Ninja Gaiden 4, As Dust Falls, stuff like that. So I don't know. They're just a staple. They're just they're always going to be there. Undead Labs, I'd be worried. I have a feeling Undead Labs State of Decay 3 is going to come out.
You guys are taking too long.
Yep.
You're too long. You're sitting on your hands for too long, man. Get off. You got to get off your asses and get that game out the door. It's been too long, and you can't do that. If you want to do that as an independent studio, first of all, you wouldn't be able to. Guess why? Because you'd starve to death. Because as an independent studio, which you were before, you wouldn't be able to keep your lights on. But you know what the problem is? Daddy Microsoft bought you, and now you're sitting on your hands. And now you guys are riding scooters up and down the hallways or whatever the hell you're doing, and you're not making the game. You're not. The game is not out. What is taking so long? If I was in charge, I'd be down there and be like, listen, I love you guys. I love what you're doing, but you're taking too long. Like, what the hell are you guys doing? You're costing us millions of dollars.
It's going to be 9 years for State of Decay 3, and I followed their trajectory of their development issues. If you put out a game in 9 years and it's a 78 on OpenCritic, I know
you're done.
I know that reviews don't mean everything. But if you put out a game and it comes out and it's a 78 or it's a 79 or it's an 81, there are going to be so many people who are like, I don't know if I want to buy that for $70. And it's going to be a big problem for State of Decay 3. Let's move. We could be here all day if I did this. PlayerUnknown's Games, Forza Horizon is amazing. Mojang Studios, they just print money. Bethesda Game Studios, Ram was like, what if they decided to get rid of Bethesda? Like, say, hey, we're done with you. Let's sell them off. That would be he said that would be really dumb because Elder Scrolls and Fallout are about to make huge money, but the wait has been excruciating with Deathloop, which did really well, and Ghostwire Tokyo. Yeah.
The wait ain't cheap, dude. It's not the fans that they're worried about. It's the money. Yeah. These people aren't cheap. They're sitting there for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, and they're paying them $130, $140, $150, and $200,000 a year. No, dude, it's over. It's time to start acting like Japanese studios. They're gonna crack the whip on your behinds. It's over. You know when Stellar Blade came out? By the way, game of 2024. The dude is almost finished Stellar Blade 2. Like, he's already 3/4 through it. Like, that's Asians have work ethic. These guys don't mess around. They get the games out.
I keep saying Matt Booty needs to go into the studios and start sweeping stuff off their desk. Say, what are we doing? 9 years to build a freaking AA zombie game? Why are we paying you month after month after month? And that's not me talking. Like, I'm saying that Xbox leadership should be saying, we love you guys at Undead Labs. So what the fudge are you doing? What the shunk? You're taking 9 years to make a game that is supposed to be a nice upgrade from State of Decay 2?
I'll tell you right now, here's my prediction. If State of Decay 3 is not an 85 or above, the studio's going to get shut down or sold.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
If it doesn't hit big time, then the studio's done.
Who farted in the chat? Which is hilarious when I say it. Who farted? Who farted?
Crunch is necessary, Jacob.
Says bring back
is necessary.
crunch.
Guess what? There's crunch in every single industry, but everybody boo-hoos for the developers. By the way, who get paid? Go to a restaurant and you want to talk about crunch during the Christmas season. You don't get paid a dime of overtime.
And
you're out there sleeping 17 hours a day. Retail, mechanics, every other job on earth, electricians, plumbers, welders, construction, lawyers, all these people do crunch. All of a sudden, everybody goes boo-hoo for developers. Listen, you don't have to do it. They're not forcing you. They're literally going to pay you time and a half. To do it.
Paris says,
what are we crying about?
What Paris says in the chat, what Mag is saying is why the industry is on fire. One miss and you are gone. And
because you're costing too much money and time. That's all it is, dude.
I feel bad for Rare. I know Sea of Thieves is doing really well, but if you're not working on the next great game, what the crap are you doing? Like, those of you who are very fortunate to have a job, thank your lucky stars, because if they're paying you to provide a service for them, you're very, very lucky. But some of these studios are, PlayStation is no stranger to this. They have had a very difficult time. Half of their studios have either had their game canceled or continually delayed, or the studios have shut down. And I'm not joking when I say that. That's a fact. Half of their studios are in a really, really bad dip right now. Thankfully, the rest of their business is doing amazing. But when you're looking at Ben's studio and Blue Point just got shut down, and you're looking at Nixus, who their job is to make PC ports, and now they're being told, hey, don't worry, we'll have you do the live service games. They're like, yeah, but is that going to keep us going forever? We're in an industry right now where Ubisoft has the most amazing. Meg and I think they're pretty amazing. They have some pretty awesome franchises.
I love Ubisoft games. They just need to shave down the studios. They have too many studios across the world. They need to close down half the studios and they'll be just fine. The problem is they tried to aggressively expand financially way too quickly. And as a result, you have all these studios all around the world and half of them aren't working on anything. And when you get too big, you know what ends up happening? The left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. And that's the problem with expanding. I know. It expands too quickly.
Yeah.
See what happens when the audio's good now? Now we're actually playing off each other perfectly.
I know we can actually hear each other. It's
scary.
Can
actually hear each other now.
When Mag says that they don't have anything to work on, or, it's really about a studio saying we need to have a reason to exist. And if we don't have something that PlayStation or Xbox is behind, all of our jobs are in trouble. It's an awful, awful time where they're trying to look for efficiencies. Meg, I have a bunch of supers I want to get to. You said you needed to go.
Go ahead, do your thing. No. Go ahead. Read the supers. I'll be here for.
Sir Jace, Julius, thank you so much for the 5. So just wanted to give you all your flowers. 2 of the funniest brothers on YouTube, 100.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
We try. Even when we get angry, we try to be funny.
Meg actually talked to me for almost 2 hours on the phone today and talked me off of
yes, we did.
The proverbial ledge. So I appreciate hearing that, man. Driftwood, thank you so much for the 5. Says, I think Xbox should wait 2 years from a release date to release games on PlayStation or Nintendo, maybe even PC. I think they need to be on PC day and date, but I wouldn't mind a little bit of, hey, you still get the game on PlayStation, you just have to wait. That way exclusive can still do its thing, and then everyone can still play the games. My thing about exclusives, Mag, I always say, and I'll move on to the next one, Xbox games were always available to nearly everyone on the planet except for someone who just owned a PlayStation. Colin Moriarty didn't like what I said. Hey, what are we supposed to do? The name of the game when it comes to exclusives totally changed. And he said, well, that doesn't excuse your previous behavior. I'm like, well, back then, I always said Xbox games are available to everyone. If you own just a PS5, you were SOL. Because you're on cloud, you're on multiple devices, Samsung TVs, you can get with this, you can get with that, Xbox console, like a PC. I mean, there's a billion people on PC. So as far as exclusives being cut away from people, the only people who were left behind was the PlayStation guy who would only play on that device. Driftwood, thanks for the 5, says, I think Xbox should wait. Oh, I already said that. A smelly wrestling geek, thanks for the 5, says, yep, Sony wants
Great
Xbox
name.
players to come to PS5, and if the new Xbox has Steam, that's less likely. Sony wants Xbox players to come to PS5. Oh, yeah, good point. Yeah, I mean, I talked to somebody in the industry that said the people that leave their platform and say, I'm out, you offended me, I'm done, and move, I'm going to PlayStation, he said that is a microcosm of people. Most people just sit and play as they want. They don't care. Oh, those games are going to PS5. Why do I care if someone else plays my games? So like the mass exodus didn't happen. Nikki, thank you for the 5. Nikki, thank you for the 5, says, wait, insulting Resident Evil makes Mag show up? All right. Then Resident Evil is overrated and Starfield is better. We can play 76 together when you get here.
I have nothing to say that absolute nonsense that just came out of your mouth. Starfield and Fallout 76 don't even deserve a doghouse compared to Resident Evil. They don't even deserve to be on the street. They should actually be euthanized in a shelter because nobody wanted them. They're in the cage shaking like this as the people walking by and they're like, I don't want that stupid thing. It's disgusting. Kill it. And then they're like, well, nobody wants this thing. Yeah, that's it. Just put the needle in, throw it in the trash in the back. That's all there is to it. Compared to Resident Evil, what are you, nuts?
Starfield, you're going off to the dog farm. Yeah, the farm in the sky.
Yeah, that's right. You're about to cross the Rainbow Bridge, bro. You want to cross the Rainbow Bridge? Donnie with the 73-month super chat says, why doesn't the Soldier Boy console get Spider-Man games? Because they only cranked at Soldier Boy and Superman on that. Oh, and he does the Soldier Boy song, which I dance to on Dance Central. Chris, thank you so much for the 5. I'll preface by saying he seems like a nice guy, but he's talking, yeah. I'll preface by saying he's a nice guy, but our Xbox marketing problems because of Aaron Greenberg or lack of budget or combination of the two. Aaron Greenberg's a really good guy. He's known. I'll let Mag say it's a combination. It's mostly Greenberg's been doing the job for a long time, but I think it might be a lack of vision and budget because I think you need somebody there who's like you and I said at the beginning of the show. We need to think bigger. Like we need to act like we're bigger. And this whole hey, everyone can enjoy our game and little jokes and little shorts they make. And I don't want to be too harsh on the shorts that Xbox Mags. Hold on a sec, Colt. Mods, we got a spammer in the chat. You want to deal with it? Sorry. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Hey, well, at least you subscribed.
Yeah, it was like massive. Yeah, sorry.
I have the subscriber thing on 1 minute. So, yeah.
It started again.
He's gone. Yeah. No,
it came back again. Mods are on top of it.
Yeah, once
they got it.
Once
you hit him.
If you can use like a little portion of your brain, we let you hang out, and that's really all that you need to be able to talk to Mag and I. Yeah, I think it's Mag. You say a little bit of both, and yeah, I just think they need to think big. They need to act bigger. Game Seeker says with the Canadian 5. Thank you, Game Seeker. Says Mag, will Mark Carney be joining the Xbox marketing team? With this guy.
Please no. Please, no.
Hold on.
If you want Xbox to succeed, do not have Kami Carney take over the marketing for Xbox. He'll destroy it. Leave it alone. No, just leave it in the new people's hands. And of course, me. Just call me.
I know.
Usher.
Meg actually applied for the marketing job today on Twitter. He's like, me.
I don't have to apply. I told her, I said, just call me. Just bring the helicopter, land it in the backyard, and I'll get on. You take me over. You can fly me. You can whisk me off to Seattle, and then we'll sit down and we'll talk about it.
Shout out to the
nonsense. Paris, give me an interview with Usher. I'm sure you talked to her.
Yeah. Paris, we're calling her Usher Raymond now because it's close.
Her name's Usher from now on.
Yeah.
Period.
Paris is my Altus Dreamcast guy, which is, Paris is making some good money off of Xbox's death every other week. Driftwood, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Appreciate you guys so much. Asha should change Game Pass back to the old plans and costs. Yeah, get rid of this $30 crap. He says, don't put new games on Game Pass till 1 to 2 years after. Interesting to hear an Xbox fan say this. I love this. He says, this way it forces more people to buy games. Thank you so much. I sort of agree. There's got to be some reason, and I think I even said this back when the ABK trial was going. You have to give people a reason to subscribe to Game Pass. It's not going to grow if you don't. Steady Steve-O, formerly known as KY Bob, who was shifting and shedding the name that was given to him by Dealer Gaming and coming into his own from Game Set Live, who's been a channel member here for 76 months, longer than Mag has been born, says KY Bob is gone. For many years now, I have been the lube man. Bob isn't even in my real name. Now, his name comes from Kentucky Bob because he's from Kentucky. So we started calling him Kentucky Bob, and then Kentucky is KY, and then he was a lube, and it just went from there. He says, it's Steven, laugh out loud. Friends call me Steve-O, and I'm pretty steady. And I want to go steady with Steve, just hearing that chat. Thank you, bro. It's good talking to you today. Grandpa Barbecue's Game Cat, thank you for the Australian 5. Says, I'm looking forward to 10 years' time when Phil releases his Xbox memoir. And what he's going to say in there is, they made me put on a bathrobe.
Yep.
That was
guys,
offensive.
the spammer's been back a third time now.
Come on, Meg.
He came back.
Why don't you take care of it? Hey, gamer girl. We don't see those around.
Yeah, now it's a girl. Okay, yeah. It's like the girls on Instagram are not some Algerian guy.
You know what? What's funny is he's like this.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
There. I just removed him from the channel.
Thank you.
That's the third time. While you were doing the super chats, he spammed another 7 times. Oh, here he goes again. He's got another one. Rust Lover.
Meg, why aren't you good at this?
I got him. I already got him. He's gone.
You know what's great is I'm going up a few subs, but then whatever.
Are you?
Okay. Yeah, you have to subscribe to spam the chat. So why don't you guys do that while I'm reading these super chats? Why don't you guys spam the chat telling Meg how sexy he is and go?
Just, you know what? Spam the chat with love. How about that? There was a lot of fighting tonight. A lot of unnecessary violence in the chat. Oh, here he is again. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. Guess who's back? Back again. Popcorn chicken lover. You must. Oh no, I don't want to say it. I don't even want to say. I was about to say something really bad. I knew it was listen, it's Maverick and Paris. They're the ones who've been doing this.
I got these sound effects. Hold on, there we go. Yep. Got to tell this thing okay every time.
I've got my finger. Here he is. He's back again. He's got a new name.
Hold on, I think I have I thought I had. Yeah, this one. We'll hit that every time the spammer comes
that's
up.
Loud.
Yeah, it is. I'll stop doing that. That is loud, huh?
Okay, I got him.
Okay.
Don't worry, dude. Hey, whoever you are, virgin, clearly, incel, never seen a vagina, dude. Don't worry about it. Keep spamming that. Yeah. Keep spamming all night long. I'm sitting here with my finger on the trigger, bro.
My moderator just had a really great idea. Hang on. This will totally nuke the guy. Are you ready? Okay, hold on.
Okay, nuke him, or let's get his IP
it'll
address
nuke.
So we can show
it'll
him his
nuke
house.
it forever. Are you ready? You ready?
Substreet.
We're gonna nuke this thing forever. It's gonna be great. You guys are gonna love this. Okay, go in here. Yep.
Get his IP.
This will.
I'll go to his house, eh? I'll just say I'll say to his mom and like, "Hi, ma'am, is your son in the basement?" She goes, "Yeah, the loser's down there."
Okay, it's done. They can't. They have no. You have no power here. Okay, so Dub 5181. Thank you so much for the $5 super. Says, do you think Xbox could make things work like making Bethesda and Activision multiplat only keeping the studios exclusive again, or is it just too late? I mean, they kind of already, well, Activision hasn't done anything. They haven't put out any games at all besides Call of Duty. And Bethesda's games have mostly been like legacy stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I think at least the Xbox Game Studios outside of those two acquisitions could be timed exclusive. I think all of it should be timed exclusive if you want to grow Game Pass. Glizzer, thank you for the 5. Hey, Mag, it's fixed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fixed for now. Yeah.
It'll be fixed. Yeah. Glizzer with the 5 says, seems like every Xbox fan's favorite ad was the Gears of War Mad World trailer. Yes. What's been your favorite ad ever since then?
None.
Mag, do you have one? I have one.
None. The Xbox had 3 amazing ads. Halo 3, the Halo 3 ad with the old man, the old veteran inside of the museum, and the little kid comes up to him and he's staring at like the thing. It's like, oh, this was the battle of so-and-so. And then it goes like the camera like goes into his mind, and then it starts showing you scenes from Halo 3 because he was there. And that was like so powerful and impactful and memorable. I love that one. Of course, there's the one with the dude flying out of his mom being born. He's flying through the air. He gets old, and then he like lands. Yeah, he flies out of the mom, and then he goes flying through the air. He turns into an old man and slams into the grave, and it says,
that was like Xbox 360 crap, like way before. But
yeah, but those are the best commercials. They haven't had a good commercial since Xbox 360.
The Neil Blomkamp.
Those are my favorites.
We talked about this last week. The Neil Blomkamp.
Yes, we did.
Halo ODST, I think it was. Trailer was really
those
cool.
All 360.
But they didn't have any Xbox One games.
Well, Xbox One had a better launch than the PS4. I'm just going to say that. After that, it's been an absolute disaster. But like ever since Uncharted 4 came out and on, Xbox lost everything. But Xbox One launch, they had some great games, dude. Like at the launch of that console, from the 360 to there, minus the price and all that stuff and the messaging, I thought the console was great. Dead Rising 3, Rise Son of Rome.
Yep.
What else came out? There was Call of Duty Ghost. I mean, that wasn't exclusive, but they had a bunch of games that launched, and I bought them all, and they had a
Halo
great
5
launch.
Was early, which
Halo 5 was early, yes.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of great stuff there, man.
I mean, that's why I made my channel.
Killer Instinct, thank you. There it is. Titanfall, that was another one. Dude, what a great launch. Remember, Titanfall was exclusive. You remember that?
Yep, Titanfall it stayed exclusive forever, and it was awesome.
Titanfall was exclusive, and I loved it. And then after that, when Uncharted came out, Sony just like went, and then they just showed, then that was it. Then it was over.
Yeah.
Then it was
Seti Stevo says, let's say State of Decay 3 does hit. What does Undead Labs do then? All they've ever done with State of Decay. Well, if State of Decay 3 is a success, they'll make another type of game, or maybe they'll make a spin-off, or maybe they'll work on 4. I mean, but then again, to cover some of the stuff we said earlier, if State of Decay 3 sells okay, but they see like a little spike that looks like it comes from State of Decay 3 into Game Pass, they might have enough metrics to say, okay, you're good for now. Your next project better look good as well. I don't know how that works. And I don't think that Usher Raymond is out for blood, but she should be out for a little bit of squeeze a little bit. Carlos Fontes, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says, I know that the tracks are already set for the next while, but when do you think we'll start to see or feel Asha's hand on the wheel? Mag, do you have an answer?
I think at the end of the year. I think at the end of the year. The reason why, they're going to let these big games play out and see how they do. From there, then she can have something tangible in front of her and say, okay, we released 4 blockbuster games. How did they do? Where were they successful? Where were they not successful? Where were people playing? How many were purchased? Where were they purchased? When you're walking in with only the, last year and before in terms of like your metrics, it's going to be very difficult for her to be able to, you know what I mean? I think in like December, that's when she's going to sit down with all the data that's come out over the entire year and just go, okay, now I have something tangible in my hands. I know how to move this forward, or we can see where we should focus on, who gets the marketing, what gets the marketing, whatever, you know what I mean? Like what gets the most attention, what gets cut off. So my guess is less than a year from now.
Okay.
That'd be my guess, and I think that would be the prudent thing to do.
I wouldn't have
Get the
had
information.
I wouldn't have had any idea, but what you explained sounds freaking really solid. Like, that's probably what she needs to do. Nikki, thanks for the 5. Says Phil will show up in a couple months to announce the Steam Machine and Half-Life 3 side by side, working with Valve with Lord Gabe. That would be hilarious. I have a feeling that Phil is done. He's not going to show up at some other gambling site or working for Tencent or something. I think he's done.
Yeah.
40 years, like Sean Layden didn't work his whole career in the business. You know, he still has some fuel in the tank. I think Phil's probably done all he can do. He rescued Xbox brand. Unleashed, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Says, with the new CEO on Xbox, my only concern is increase Xbox games and Game Pass changing again in price. Plus, no exclusive anymore. Yeah, I mean, I'm already good with the no exclusives. I just have to think about them as a business. What are they looking at? Are they going to see if major changes are going to be what like actually starts moving the needle in a different direction? I got a question for Mag though.
Sure, what's up?
What do you think about the recent God of War developments? I got to get your take. You just made a video on it. Yesterday.
I'm happy about it.
You're okay with Faye as the God of War
Faye?
wife thing?
Yeah, why not? I mean, the next God of War is going to be in Egypt at some point, right? So that's going to be Kratos back in his role or whatever. The alternative is that there was going to be like a smaller sort of DLC kind of vibe, kind of like Uncharted Lost Legacy or Miles Morales kind of thing. And it was going to be Atreus / Loki as an older, like a little bit older. I did not want to play as him. But Faye, I would like to play as. Now, you got to remember, Faye was also, if anybody knows their Norse mythology, she was a protector of the 9 realms against Odin and Thor and Balder and all those clowns over there. And she, by the way, she was the owner of the Leviathan axe, not Kratos. She gave it to Kratos when she died. So he inherited the axe, and then he kept it after that. That was her weapon. So, and if you go back into Norse mythology, she was a protector of the realms, of the 9 realms. So this makes sense. So now there's obviously a huge story behind it. Remember the 2 little midgets there, whatever the hell, those little guys, the little dwarfs, they made the weapon for her, and they talk about it in God of War and God of War Ragnarok. They say that they had made the Leviathan axe for Faye. So that being the case, she was already a warrior and a protector of the realms. Why not show us that story before Kratos showed up? So this is obviously going to take place while Kratos is making his way from the Greek pantheon over to the Norse one. So she was already there before Atreus was born, before Atreus was born or everything. And I'm all for it. And
you know your stuff, bro.
I do know my stuff. Yes. Yeah. She's not a God of War, Colin Prime. She's not a God of War. No.
It just seemed like there was a very mixed result.
It won't be called God of War. It's not going to be called God of War. I guarantee it. They're going to call it something else. But there's going to be some brand recognition there. But the thing is, there's a lot of people going, I don't want to play as a woman. I don't play. And I'm like, that's fine. That's cool.
Gosh sakes.
But you know what the thing is? Here's the thing. A lot of the same people that I saw that discourse around were saying the same thing about Ghost of Yotai, and Ghost of Yotai surpassed the Ghost of Tsushima sales because it was a quality game. So at the end of the day, as long as Sony Santa Monica makes a quality game like God of War and God of War Ragnarok, then this new Faye game will do incredibly well because it's a good game. So it trumps all that stuff at the end of the day if you make quality. So again, Ghost of Yotai outsold the other one. So
unbelievable.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? It doesn't really matter. And plus, I like playing as girls anyway. They're much more exotic and interesting to play with. Dudes, this is the same stuff. It's just like,
yeah.
Look.
I think what we learned, especially when Mag is talking about,
this is like a dude in every game. Look.
Hold on, I gotta go to the live there. Okay, go ahead. Okay, now do the walk.
Like it's the same thing.
Now take the scythe and do the walk if you play as a female. Take the headset off and
I'll probably fall over. By the way, comment of the night goes to Newscast Guy. He said Broad of War. There you go. That's what we're gonna call it, the Broad of War.
Yep.
Anyways, listen, man, I'm all for it. I like playing as female characters. They're exotic. They're interesting. They have different movements. They're much more nimble and agile. They usually wear cooler costumes. I'm all for it, man. I'm down with it. I'm a Tomb Raider fan. I'm an original Resident Evil fan. You always play as girls. Nobody complain. Horizon, the Horizon games, Horizon Forbidden West.
I think another lesson we learned is that, we were talking about how PlayStation has their own issues and their studios are like, some of them are on the edge and on the knife. But really, if you take a step back, PlayStation's doing fantastic. You take a step back and fine. Xbox is doing pretty well. They're going to take some major shift changes. And, PlayStation's going to make some major changes within their own organization as well. But, everyone thinks the industry is burning to the ground. But what we don't realize sometimes is, gosh dang, are the great games coming out every single month. And I'm grateful for that.
Every single month, man.
And Meg and I will sit here and we want to make sure that we want to make sure that Meg and I are always, giving our grievances or our complaints or criticism and being constructive about what the games industry needs to work or do better on. We don't have the answers. We'll try. We'll have that discussion and you guys will help us. But there's a lot to look forward to. And you don't have to worry that everything's going to hell in a handbasket. How could you enjoy things if that's all you thought? And you're having the time of your life with you. I'm playing an old game. I'm having the time of my life with it. And you're playing a brand new game. You're having the time of your life. And I guess the moral of the story is Chicken Little said the sky is falling. And Andy Dufresne crawled through a river of shit that will never, I accidentally.
That's right. He said the S word, folks. I said the F word tonight.
I censored the word.
I said the F word. He said I said the F word tonight on the show, and he said the S word. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we have completely fallen apart. XNC is finished. We're done.
It's over.
We've totally
lost
our
show.
minds.
Meg, tell everybody where they can find you, what you have going on this week. I'll do my outro and thank you so much. Language.
Of course, you can catch me on you can catch me on the Mag Show. I'm on the Mag Show, of course. That's my channel. I'm sure one of the mods will put a link in there if anybody wants to come check out the channel. Of course, I'm here every Monday night with Colteastwood. Tomorrow night, Tuesday nights, 8:45 Eastern p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Magcast is live. That's a one-man show, and it gets pretty wild. And then, of course, I got videos going on during the week and every Friday. And, of course, depending on the day or what game I got going on, every Friday, live streaming games where I live stream games and we chit-chat and do our thing and have a good time. This weekend, we did it a lot. We did 11 hours of streaming between Friday and Sunday because it's Resident Evil. We had to celebrate it. So we had a great time doing that. So a lot of content in the channel, a lot of stuff going on. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying doing all of it. So, yeah, man, help me out. Come check me out. And everybody have yourself a wonderful night. And listen, man, when we get wild in here sometimes, it's just like dudes like hanging out at a bar and you get in an argument. Yep. What do? You just punch the other one in the head and go, shut up. And then you just keep drinking your beer. You clink glasses and everything's good. So that's how you do it. There you go. The link is in the chat. But either way, great show tonight. We had a lot of difficult topics to get through. A little bit of negativity in there, but it's not really negativity. We're just saying it like it is, man. But either way, we wish everybody the best. Have a great time. Enjoy gaming because that's what we're here for. We're here for the love of the game, man. So,
thank
all
you.
Right, have a good night, guys.
My face hurts from smiling. And Hargy, you will forget you heard that. I'd asked that the jury strike that from the record. It didn't happen. Thank you, guys. Hopefully, I will have a major Xbox video. I've got a lot working on. I've been working on graphics, After Effects, Photoshop, and everything to put together this video. I hope it's well worth it, but things have been in flux. So I've been waiting to get everything lined up. Go subscribe to Mag. Subscribe here if you're not. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks for everything, Mag. Keep it wrinkled, bro.
Good night.
See ya.